You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Hey, these guys having fun here today at the Girls Flag Football Preseason Classic. Got a bunch of teams. Started yesterday, goes all day today into Saturday as well. And we've got some of the best flag football teams in the area and some from even around the state. They're having some fun. The Oak Leafs team in front of the camera. They were not camera shy. They were like, hey, get back here, Action Sports Jax. Okay, we'll have some fun here on a Friday. And we're hanging out here at Jags headquarters because you know what? You never know what's going to happen at Jags headquarters this time of year. So we're here for some flag football, and maybe we'll run into something with this GM search. We'll see anybody come in and out. We will find out. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Miller Electric Center and Jags headquarters. High above, you get the look, and then there's a lot happening downtown right now. There was something going on in Lot J today with, I think, the police doing some training. And you look at the Jumbo Shrimp Stadium, which, can you see it in that shot? I don't think you can. But there's so much construction going on to finish up by April for the right field area and some of the other things that they have for renovations going on with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp and baseball season right around the corner for the Jumbo Shrimp as well. So, and then we've got all this flag football going on, and of course interviews happening inside the building for the Jacksonville Jaguars trying to find the next GM. So a lot of fun here in Jacksonville on a Friday, and we welcome you field side here for this Jaguars preseason classic and girls flag football. It's intense out here. You got a lot of good action. They're utilizing all the fields and the indoor facility being used as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about this fast-growing sport and the job the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing and Jaguars prep are doing to boost the sport. But they're not alone. The NFL is doing this too, and quickly you're starting to see this becoming more of a high school sport in all the states in America. You're going to see it become more of a college sport, and pretty soon a championship sport. Get some information on that. I was just talking to somebody from the NCAA, and I think it's kind of interesting to see how that process works. But this is a fast riser now. If you have a daughter who's at a young age, you might already be playing flag football, but if not already, she's probably going to ask you to play some flag football over the next few years because it's becoming that popular of a sport. Brent Martineau here. We'll have Austin Lane. He's held up at the gate. Former Jags player, can't get into a girls flag football event. 6'6", figured he'd be able to talk his way in or at least bully his way in. Now UFC fighter, and he can't get in. He's got to wait for a wristband. So he'll join us in just a couple of minutes. The security's good here at Jags headquarters on a Friday. But we'll talk more about the GM search. Obviously, there's more intel coming out of Jags headquarters over the last couple of days on when the timing of this will take place, but the timing is no surprise. It'll be by the end of next week, so that person can now get to the combine and start the offseason process with this coaching staff, a process that already and a vision that already is being constructed in the minds of Tony Vaselli, Liam Cohen, and everybody else in this building. Hear a little bit more from Grant Udinski, the Jaguars offensive coordinator. He talked to little Brian Thomas yesterday. Want to hear from him on that, and also the running game, because this is such a big belief now for this staff that you got to get that running game going, and the beneficiary could be Travis Etienne and, of course, Tank Bigsby and whatever else they do in that running back room. So how do they see it? How will they do it? We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit. And our buddy Daniel Griffis jumps in the show today from a contributing standpoint, as he has done all week. We just debuted it this week, and we really love the content he's given us to talk about. And this was a deeper dive today, not just the Jags, but overall the NFL and as it relates to the Jags. And the idea is how much the league has changed even in the last few years and continues to change. We talk about that a lot on the show. You see the ebbs and flows of it. We're seeing running and defense and all those things right now happen in the NFL like we did for the last 5, 6, 7 years. What's the latest trend, and how can the Jags stay ahead of those trends now that they've hired a new coaching staff along the way? One thing I do want to remind you about, because and I don't want to forget it, we only have a couple of submissions in because I probably haven't pushed it enough. The envelope game is back for the GM, but you got to get it in by the end of the weekend, today or tomorrow. Sports at actionnewsjax.com. And if you want to jump in the envelope game, who will be the next GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars? We'll have our picks as well. We know the candidates, I think, by now. So take your best guess. I think they're going to lean heavy in a certain way, much like Ben Johnson was the heavy lean when we did this for the coaching staff. Didn't turn out that way. We only had a couple of winners for Liam Cohen. Who will be the winner for the GM sweepstakes here in Jacksonville, and how important that is? Sports at actionnewsjacks.com. You send it in. Next week we'll do the envelope game. We'll give away some prizes with that as well. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. They let you in. You got to tell you, man. I just had former Jags player, UFC fighter. You couldn't even bully your way past security.
No, man. I should have stayed in South Florida. I feel like I'm more well-known in South Florida than I am here. Yeah, nothing like waiting 10 minutes at the gate to try to get a wristband to get in here. But listen, I mean, Super Bowl security was on point here. They did a good job of keeping all the riffraff out, I guess, because I had to pass some background checks, man, to get in here.
Well, you don't live here anymore.
I don't live here anymore, I guess. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
down in South Florida.
Yeah, for sure.
Welcome home.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's good to be back for like 2 days before I have to go back to Vegas now again.
Yeah.
But no, it's been great, man. South Florida was fun. A little too warm for my liking around this time of year, so it's good to get back in a little more cooler temperatures.
Yeah, today's a little bit of a dip down, a little roller coaster ride in the temperatures, by the way. It's a very comfortable day, beautiful day.
Yeah.
But it's been in the 80s the last couple of days, going to get back up there on Saturday, Sunday, and then I think a little bit down again in the 60s, so riding a little bit of a wave right now here in Jacksonville. What 2 weeks from tomorrow, your fight? We already have been talking about that a lot this week. Mario Pinto, the opponent in Las Vegas at the Apex. What are the next couple of weeks now look like for you? Because you've been down at fight camp in South Florida.
Yep.
I know you have to go out to Vegas Sunday, Monday. You got to do some testing ahead of the fight. But then will you end up back down in South Florida? You're going to go out to Vegas early? What's your deal?
No, so basically what happened was I have to go to Vegas early for some testing, just some neurological stuff. I guess like when you're over 36 or 35 years old, they got to like do their due diligence. Hey, just watch the show. Just watch our show. I can have a conversation. I can talk about a lot of different topics. I think neurologically right now, I'm okay.
Maybe they did watch the show, and maybe that's
they did watch the show. Maybe, to talk about hockey. What are we doing here? Let's go and test them. No, maybe. But, so I'm going to stay in Vegas then for these next 2 weeks before the fight, kind of get acclimated over there. Obviously, the air is different. The temperatures are different in the desert. So I'll get acclimated over there. So, yeah, you'll be seeing me. It'll be the same time over here, obviously, but I'll be getting up a little early then to do the show on that West Coast time.
Yeah, so you're all over the place as we get closer and closer to that fight. It's coming quick. Again, March 1st on Saturday, March 1st against Mario Pinto. What we got anything else big in the UFC like this weekend? We got a couple big fights before that, or is there a big card prior to March 1st?
So there's going to be a UFC Seattle, not this weekend, I think, but next weekend will be a pretty big card. Not necessarily like a pay-per-view card, but still some pretty big names on that card. So that's probably the next big one.
Okay. Hey, I know you don't have a daughter, but if you did, she'd probably be playing flag football.
Whoa.
This thing is growing.
This thing is huge, man. I couldn't believe, number one, the parking lot was insane just pulling up in here. I thought the Jaguars might have like an OTA or something going on I didn't know about. But no, there's a lot of teams being represented over here. And, yeah, I don't have a daughter, but I do have a son who's a diehard flag football fan. It's probably his last year playing flag football before he starts tackle football, but he actually has the playoffs this weekend he'll be getting set for as well, so I'm glad to be back in town for that.
Oh, good. You can catch a little bit of that.
Yeah.
That is good. Hey, the Jags GM search, I don't think they're going to announce one here today, but basically, the Jags obviously gave word. If you were at yesterday's coordinator thing, there were a lot of reports, hey, by next Friday they'll have somebody. That's not a surprise because they get ready for the combine. There is a little bit of a time crunch here. I don't know about a major time crunch, but at least there's a timeline, I would say, that sometime between now and a week from today, the Jags have a new GM in place. And it's really, we've talked about this at somewhat length. We haven't really spent a ton of time talking about the GM diving into it because it's like, okay, who are these guys? What do they bring? Everybody might have their favorite. I think a lot of that's just name recognition. A lot of that's pedigree. But the bottom line is the Jags are getting closer and closer to finishing this thing off. You talk to some folks around here. They already love the vibe in here. They can feel the vibe of that younger group, that energy. It's not a negative against the old folks, the old regime. They weren't old folks, by the way, by football standards or any standard. but there's definitely a different vibe in this building if you talk to the folks that are in the building every day.
No, without a doubt. And I haven't really had my finger on the pulse in terms of how the GM coaching search is, or the GM search is going. But I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong, did they interview like a 12-year-old the past couple of days that popped up on the Jaguars feed? Because he looks like he's 12. Is this like a child prodigy, like a Doogie Howser situation? Brent, who is this guy and what is he all about?
Well, Grant Udinski is the 29-year-old offensive coordinator. You're talking about James Gladstone out of the Rams. And,
yes.
There is that thought that he is a little bit like that, and he thinks a bit different. The word was he was going to blow them away in the interview. Who knows if he did? And he'll quickly rise to be one of the favorites. The Rams, we talk about a lot as an organization, that seem to be doing things the right way, and even when they do things outside the box, they do it well, and then they figure it out right after that when you're like, oh, they're going to suffer from giving away all those draft picks. Nope, hasn't happened. Now they're trying to trade all their players away. In fact, we're going to talk about that. But, yeah, you're talking about Gladstone. I think there's a lot of intrigue around him, and when you're as young as the Jags are, there's one crazy thing that one thing that really stands out from Shad Khan a month and change ago. When he announced that Trent Baalke was staying and Doug was leaving. He talked about predictable offense. He doesn't want to be predictable. I think when I asked him, has he learned anything? I think he has learned something. I think he learned that he doesn't want to chase the league. He would rather lose and be an innovative guy trying to do things on the cutting edge. That's what he's done his whole business life, right?
Yeah.
That's what he does with his latest and greatest yacht that's visiting the Super Bowl. No, seriously, that's who he is.
Yeah.
That's what I've said that a lot, but that's who he is. That's who Shad Khan is. Shad Khan is more cutting edge and innovative in a lot of his walks of life. But in football, it feels like they've caught up. I wonder if the Gladstone part of this could be intriguing to him just based on that alone. And we also go from Trent Baalke, who we had a conversation with the oldest GM in the league at 60 years old.
Yeah.
You could go to a guy who, boom, is one of the youngest, if it is Gladstone.
And I think it begs the question, right? Because we always talk about the turnover of NFL coaches in the NFL, right? And we talk about how, can this coach relate to NFL players, right? Can you relate to the modern athlete? And I think, Liam Cohen, a younger guy, can definitely do that. He obviously earned a lot of respect with those players on the offensive side of the ball in Tampa Bay. They didn't want him to go. I'm sure Baker Mayfield is still having restless nights thinking about who the offensive coordinator is going to be in Tampa Bay. How does it work for the GM, though? Right? Because I always think of a GM and it's like, okay, maybe you've had a couple go-arounds, maybe it didn't work well, maybe your draft shows it didn't work well, maybe your free agent show it didn't work well. Okay, we're on to the next one, maybe on to some more youth. But do you run the risk of going a little too young? Because I don't think relating to modern NFL players is that important for a GM.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at a GM, what I'm looking for more is experience, obviously picking the right players. They're going to fit the mold of what this team's trying to do here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. You don't need – it's not – Liam Cohen and this coaching staff and Grant Udinski and everybody
exciting.
else.
It's exciting.
Well, it's exciting, but it's also relationship to players.
Sure.
Is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
The GM doesn't have to relate to players. I don't know if Trent Baalke related to players. Now, the players didn't have this animosity toward him like everybody else in town did either. Keep that in mind. Yeah. He's the one helping write the check.
Same thing like when I had Gene Smith. Like, I talked to Gene Smith. Did we were going out having beers? Absolutely not.
No. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
But I think that's what this one is different. This is more, if he's hired, this is more, hey, this guy could be a star. And by the way, when you're a star as the GM, you usually don't get poached. If you're a star at 29 and Grant Udinski as an offense coordinator, you're getting poached to be a head coach, right? Sure. Or a defense coordinator. That's not if you can get a GM that now is going to be here for 20 years and you're the latest, you're the greatest thing going, like Howie Roseman, well, you got that guy now. Like, that dude's not going anywhere. Sure. So that's one interesting part about that position. But I think this is more philosophical approach. Obviously the play on analytics, but the ability to now take all the information that has changed the NFL in the last 10, 12, 15 years from players to game and philosophy and analytics and drafting and all this stuff. Because I do think there's a sense that if you're 50 plus, you come from the old NFL and you've had to morph into it. You're like the generation that had to figure out how to use a computer or a phone.
Yeah, sure.
That doesn't mean you can't do it and you can't be good at it, but you have to take the time to do it, and your first step of it is usually resistance, right?
Oh, I hear you, yeah.
So I think there's a little element of that to say, is he going to bring this new way of thinking? The stuff I've read on him out of the Rams is that he brings a different approach, a different view, a different lens at his age. And he's got the ears of the Rams organization.
Sure.
Now, he's not running the Rams organization. I think that's important to know. I mean, Snead's done a fantastic job. McVay's done a fantastic job. It's those guys leading the way.
He knows what it looks like.
But he definitely has had input there, it looks like. And can he bring that to Jacksonville? And then I think you have to ask this question. If it is a guy like that, is it too much of that? Mm-hmm. Because how much of that do you need? You can't change the whole thing, right? Do you still tap into the old football things, even as a younger person that have worked for decades and decades?
So that's what I hope is going to be done here, Brent, right? And when it comes to the analytics, you know how I feel about it. I'm a little more old school with it. And I think if you look at Howie Roseman, who's obviously being touted as one of the best GMs right now in all of football, I'm not sure what the analytics would have said about how Roseman has gone about things. Would you really pay that much money for a running back? I think a lot of GMs would say probably not. Well, they did. Yeah. It worked out great. Yeah. Everyone's like, okay, maybe we'll pay up a little more for like another Saquon Barkley type. Would you really draft 2 cornerbacks like they did in the first 2 rounds? The analytics would probably say, I'm not sure if I would do that. Would you take a chance on Jalen Carter? Now, maybe it's not more analytics. Maybe it's more of just like wishful thinking. But Jalen Carter, there are some issues around him coming out of college where he dropped a little bit. Would the analytics say, do you take him? So I understand. Like we live in an analytics era now. It's adapt or die. I understand all that. But sometimes I feel like it's instinct and it's mentality that gets the job done. And I think more than anything, that's what Howie Roseman did. When a lot of people were wondering, why are you drafting so many Georgia Bulldogs? Why are you getting 2 back-to-back corners in the draft? Why'd you get Jalen Carter? Like, yeah, he's a great player, but there's some risk there. Well, they just won a Super Bowl because of all those decisions. So I get analytics are important, and we'll celebrate them, but at the same time, you got to have that gut, you got to have that dog, you got to have that instinct.
Yeah, and I'll continue to say this is why we don't know what makes a good GM. You don't know if that's going to happen until the guy gets in the position. And by the way, that's like a compilation of years and years. Like, I mean, Howie Roseman has done this for years and years now. So now you have a good resume. One time doesn't get it done. Like the Jags, again, I'll keep saying, Jags can be good in 25, and everything can feel so great around here. That ain't the end of the story. Remember that. Like, hopefully they are good in 25, and hopefully things start going in the right direction. But it's not the end of the story around here. We've seen the 1 year stuff. It's how much can you do that now for 3, 5 years, 10 years, sustain it. I do, and I hadn't really thought about that until you just brought it up. I do love the idea, and by the way, these guys are all pretty much on the younger side. Like we're talking, Gladstone's like 33 years old, I think, to maybe 42, 44, 45 years old. Like that's kind of, the GMs really feel like they fall in that like 40s category. That's normal around the NFL is what I'm saying. But there's a really good chance this guy that you hire, if you get it right, it's a huge if you get it right, is here for a very long time. Like, that's how you get sustainability in an organization. You don't normally flip GMs as much as you flip coaches anyway. Like, you can win a little bit and still flip your coach after 5-6 years. Like, that's just the way it goes in the NFL. Usually you wouldn't do that with the GM. You like the vision. You like everything's going. Maybe they started tuning out the coach. You're not going to have that problem with the GM. But I do like that idea. Like, whoever they get here, if it works, they've got a chance to now run with that GM and have consistency in that spot here in this building for, who knows, a decade plus if it really works, and you can go on that kind of run.
Well, I think that's the hopeful thing here, Brent, right? Because even when you had Doug Peterson, let's say that you would have brought Doug Peterson back for another year, and we'll see how it goes. Realistically, how many years did Doug Peterson have left coaching before maybe he was going to go on and do, retire, go off into the sunset?
Yeah.
So the way that it's set up right now, and we'll see what the GM decision is going to be, but you have the opportunity to have kind of the same mold here, and hopefully it's a great mold, but the same mold for years and years to come, because you have Liam Cohen, who he's not going anywhere. Like, he'll be calling the plays. It's not like a defensive guy where it's like, we got an offensive coordinator that's essentially calling plays, right? Like, he's he's not going anywhere. Yeah, we might lose a coordinator here or there, but we're not going to lose our play caller. So that's a great thing. Yeah, you might lose a coordinator, offensive coordinator here, defensive coordinator, but like as long as you have the cohesive unit of, hey, the guy calling plays, the guy that's going to elevate Trevor Lawrence can be here for a long time, and then you pair that with a GM who can be here for a long time, that's going to be the recipe for success. Now, you got to have success in that time, but it's all on the table to do that.
Yeah, I think it'll be wild. Gladstone's an interesting name. Again, Cunningham continues to be a name. There's a lot of back and forth that I haven't really paid close attention to, or at least given too much credence to, but there are some like Yardline Yodas out of Chicago that basically have said he's not going anywhere, Ian Cunningham, and have been saying that for a while now, for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I think he came back out, whatever guy in Chicago said, yeah, he's still not going to go anywhere. They're going to retain him. So it feels like there's been something with Cunningham, at least from those kind of reports that have him one step in, one step out, a little hesitant to be down here for some reason. I don't know the reasoning. I do think Cunningham's resume speaks loud because of the Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles background. Like, that's the only thing I'm lending. We know the name because people have talked about it. That's one thing. I'm not jumping in that. I do think the resume speaks volumes. I mean, those are two organizations that have really done it well, if that's where your pedigree has come from. And then the Gladstone one, even beyond the Rams, is just interesting because he's so young, and the Jags have gone so youthful here. So those are the ones that get attention. And I'm not telling you that there's not another superstar somewhere else that they're already interviewing. I mean, that might be the case, but it seems like those two names are the loudest of names to everybody else on Twitter or wherever following along on this GM search.
Yeah, and listen, this is where due diligence, these interviews are so important, right? Because I think with head coaches, Brent, you have a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're Shad Khan, if you're Tony Baselli, you're sitting in those meetings and you're going, okay, what's the philosophy? What's the plan? What do they think about Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr.? Like, there's a clear blueprint of how things are set up, and obviously you take the best candidate, and this was Liam Cohen, and you adjust accordingly. With the GM, I feel like it's a little different because, okay, you got the resume of where you've come from, but you've never really been in the spot to kind of take over and have it be all about you. So then what are you saying? Okay, well, this is what I draft my guys based off of. This is the kind of guys that we're looking for. And how much does Liam Cohen have to do with this as well in terms of, the interviews? Because you want to think that whoever you bring in for a GM, him and Liam Cohen got to definitely be on the same page.
Well, there's and I think that's some of the sentiment coming out of Chicago with Cunningham and his hesitation potentially is that, is Cohen the guy that really has all the power in the building? And so do I have my say of my voice going to be loud enough? Which I respect that because that's the same thing folks were asking about this job when they came in for a head coach. Is Balky there? Yeah. Or am I going to have say? You know what I mean? So they're asking the same thing. What kind of power structure is it going to be? And I don't think that comes from ego. I think that comes from voice and vision. And, okay, am I going to get caught do I have to fall in line, basically, or is my voice going to be heard? I'd assume here in Jacksonville, it feels like everybody's voice is going to be heard. I don't think this is going to be a dictatorship at all. I think this is, while it's Cohen-centric and head coach-centric, I still think Baselli will have a voice in this stuff. I think it's an important voice. I think the GM will have a voice. This will be that collaborative kind of style that Shad Khan talks about, but I do think things will run through, at least from an optic standpoint, run through Cohen. And that's what I think is important. This is his building. Well, that doesn't mean other people won't be decision makers in the building. I mean, there are going to be coaches on the staff that come up with a play and this and that. Yeah. You know, that's just natural. It's not a dictatorship. I think one of the coordinators yesterday said that, and I think that's true. But sometimes it's like we're painting this picture of, hey, Cohen. Oh, that means he's going to tell you what kind of salad dressing there is inside the. I don't think it's that extreme. I just think it's important optically to make note of how it looks. When Tom Coughlin was EVP, it was Tom Coughlin's building. That's not the case here.
Sure. And I think with Liam Cohen, too, and it's important to realize this, and I do agree with you. I think it has to go through Liam Cohen, and then we go down the list with Tony Baselli, and then whoever the GM is going to be, because at the end of the day, when we're sitting here, Brent, in January or February, we're talking about how the Jaguars did, the previous season with Liam Cohen and company, whether they go, they win 4 games or whether they go to the playoffs and, maybe they win 12 games. The first thing we're going to talk about is how well Liam Cohen did. We're not going to mention Tony Baselli right away. We're not going to probably mention the GM right away. We're going to mention, all right, what do you think about Liam Cohen so far? So if that's the conversations that we're going to have, regardless of what the record's going to be, then yes, I think things have to channel through Liam Cohen, and then you adjust accordingly.
All right, well, we'll see how it goes there. The GM search continues in Jacksonville. Interviews for the first round, we understand, will wrap up today. They'll do 10 interviews in total this week. Obviously, Ethan Waugh, very much a candidate here. I continue to say I'm still a bit surprised if he's the guy, or a lot surprised. Also surprised if he's not involved in this building in some capacity. So I'll stick with that for now.
Shad Khan and Tony Baselli through these interviews, do you think they kind of have like their own little shock your mock segment where the GM's in front of the board and be like, okay, we got a couple rounds here, who you taking, and tell us why?
You know, you say that and you laugh out. I am fascinated with the process, and at some point when it's over, I'm going to ask a little bit more. We've done this so many times, and I don't know why this time I find myself more fascinated with the process of like what goes on, because I think you just said something that's pretty interesting a couple moments ago. You said the difference between a head coaching interview and a GM interview. Like the head coach, we kind of know what that guy is, or at least where he came from. There's X's and O's. There are statistics to back it up.
Yep.
There are no statistics to back up a potential GM. If you were getting Howie Roseman or somebody who had done the job before, like John Robinson, you do have statistics. But that's not, Robinson's the only guy that has done this before. That's being interviewed. Yeah. So he's the only guy that you can really say, well, he did this, and obviously nobody wants him because of the A.J. Brown trade. He actually did a lot of other things in Tennessee that were really kind of pretty good overall, but it's all washed away by the A.J. Brown trade and whatever there was going on with him and Vrabel and everything else in that organization. So I don't think you want to bring that kind of potential back in. But the interview process is fascinating because I feel like when you interview the coaches the first time around and you bring them back for a second time, or you get your finalists, and even maybe the first time around, you're like, well, I already know we like this guy. Now let's see if he confirms that in the interview, right? When you interview the GM, I don't think you already know that. They're like, okay, this guy comes highly regarded. Let's find out what this dude's all about, right? Like, to your point, that's what you're asking. Like, we got to find out what this guy's all about because we really don't know much other than he's been recommended and he's worked in a good organization. So let's hear all these things about vision. What kind of player? What would you do with the number 5 pick? How do you like this football team? Who would you get rid of? Who would you keep? All those things. Whereas Cohen, he's going to give you that too, but, you already knew this dude could run the ball and pass the ball. You knew he had worked with quarterbacks. Like, you just come in and be like, okay, let's make sure he checks this box, this box, this box, this box. And if he does, now we really like him.
Brent, let me ask you this. Obviously you got your Pulitzer Prize coming in the mail pretty soon. Pulitzer Prize award article writer Brent Martineau.
I'm going to submit that.
Yeah, submit that, man. Let's go. What are we waiting for, man? We teased it so much. You didn't submit it? What are we doing here? But what I was going to ask you is, I think with the head coaching search, it was easy. Like, the questions you're going to ask, what do you think about Trevor Lawrence? What can you do with Trevor Lawrence? How do you turn things around? Let me ask you this. If you're sitting in those meetings, what's one of the first questions that you ask a potential GM of, like, what do you want to know about them?
Let's take a break. I gotta go to the bathroom.
We'll see you guys Monday. Yeah.
I like the question, but let's take a break and we'll answer it on the other side. I like that. What would you jump in with a question? Kind of little fly on the wall segment, right?
There we go.
Like, what would you ask if you were the fly?
Yeah.
Might have to pull that out. Nick will tell you where to find it. Nick in the Daytime's with us today, by the way, and it's Valentine's Day. You know he's got something good today.
Oh, let's go, Nick.
I mean,
can't wait, man.
He's got something good today.
Can't wait to hear it.
We'll see if he does. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. You can find us on actionsportsjacks.com. Simple way to do it. We're at the Girls Flag Football Preseason Classic. Jaguars putting this on here at Jags headquarters on a beautiful Friday, heading into the weekend with so much going on in our sports world, including the Daytona 500. We'll talk a little bit about that, which comes up on Sunday.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.com. shop.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with That One Painter First Coast on your team.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jags Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, you can take 10% off any water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Jags headquarters. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane, and we've got, looks like the Orange Park flag football team right behind us. They were playing on that middle field earlier when I was over there. We'll keep showing you some of the action from around here and talk about flag football for a little bit longer because it's an interesting intel, especially, again, if you've got kids or you're going to have kids. I mean, it's going to look really different in 5 to 10 years, the way we think about flag football. Olympics are helping that. The NFL is helping that.
Yeah.
The NCAA is helping that. The girls' game is really going to thrive. What I wonder is if the boys will thrive, or is it just going to stay on a youth level, or will it be an option for parents at a higher level because of the Olympics and everything else? And then do you lose people that play tackle football?
Yeah.
You know, for like 8-10 years ago, if this was colliding at the same time, I think we would have had a lot of people move because of concussions and CTE and the talk.
Sure.
Well, we're doing. There's a lot more research. The numbers are a lot better now. It's not obviously a perfect world in the violent sport, but I think people overall feel a little bit better about concussions and where we're at in the NFL, but also youth level sports and everything else. Safety of the game. But it would have been wild to see the growth. If this growth in this sport, flag football, happened 7, 8, 10 years ago.
Yeah, what
would
it
we
like?
have? We already did lose numbers in football for a little bit.
Yeah,
but not as. I think that's leveled out. I think we would have lost a lot more to this game.
No, without a doubt. And it's crazy because it's kind of like my first, like, you know, girls like football experience, like tournament kind of thing here. And it's insane, man. Like these girls got some skills out here making some plays. I will be honest. It is definitely a different game, though, because, you know, I'm kind of used to the pregame warm-ups, Brent, of just doing your stretches here. They got like TikTok dances. they have
handstands earlier.
they have like a 10-minute choreographed TikTok dance for a warm-up, which I mean, I was in awe because, like, you want to talk about team chemistry, team camaraderie. How long did that take to learn? A choreographed dance before a game?
Probably not.
I like it.
These girls.
Probably not.
I had
man.
the camera rolling on Oakleaf a little earlier. It was one of the first videos we saw of the show, and I like started paying off them. They were like, "No, don't go anywhere yet." They were not afraid of the camera.
They're getting it, man.
That is, they have fun. I mean, listen, the girls. At one time this morning, I was setting up and I was listening. I was like, "Man, I feel like I'm at a softball game."
Yeah.
You get a lot of the energy is so good. Now, I will tell you this, but surprise, I kind of like. Okay, this is fun, right? This is just like you go out and have a little fun. You're Jags. This is serious stuff too. Now, these girls are competitive. I think we miss that sometimes because of the cheering. The coaches, I had coaches running up and down the sideline. They were showing off their verticals.
Oh, yeah.
This stuff's intense. It's no different than any other youth sport.
No, without a doubt.
Cheerleading to basketball to football to baseball to flag football. It's intense.
No, like these girls are definitely going for a championship here, Brent. It's like, you know, winner take all. But at the same time, if we would have been doing those like dances and stuff at practice, Joel Cohen would have had a heart attack by now. So. But it's cool to see. I mean, I'm not hating on it. I mean, just, hey, if you have to get warmed up, get warmed up. I'm thinking about maybe my little pre-fight routine, Brent. Might have to incorporate some kind of TikTok dance into it.
How excited did I just get in the commercial break? Illustrate that for people at home.
Yeah. Brent Martineau, Kid on Christmas. And listen, you know, when it comes to technological side of things of this show, I'm an amateur, okay? Some would say I'm more like a Hamby, but I had no idea what was going on, Brent. I had no idea what you were talking about, but you were extremely excited to, I guess, figure out the microphones and the headsets and everything?
So everything was, I think, sounding okay, and we were doing okay, but we couldn't hear each other.
Yeah.
And so I knew I was missing something.
Okay.
And so I always phone a friend, and that friend is Steve Sesnick.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that answers all our questions and helps us figure it out. And so it's a new mixer. Yesterday I played with it, and we got it working fine. Just had to, it's very simple.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the way all that, like my mind doesn't work that way. Once we do it a couple of times, I'm cool. And I can even troubleshoot a little bit, but I hadn't used this one in a while. And I'm like, why can't we hear each other? I feel like we should be able to hear each other.
Correct.
And so then he was I was like, we went through a couple of things, happened pretty quick, all in like a 5-minute commercial break. And I was ecstatic to be able to figure it out. It's like, come on, you know how this feeling is. If the sink is broken and you're not like a handyman, but you're able to fix the sink, like, is that like this moment of euphoria?
Change the tire.
Yeah, like,
sure.
That's not me. Like, I don't do a lot of that stuff. Like, I can't even get our TV working at home, and I'm in the TV business.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing, quite frankly. But I still, when we figure something out, even with the help of somebody, I'm like, oh, that's good.
No, listen, it's very cool that you were so excited. My reaction was nothing. And do you know why it was nothing? Because every time we've gone on the road, I've had the bad set of headphones. Now we have a new pair of headphones, so it works fine. But I've been on the road with you for about a year, and my headset's never worked.
It would never work.
It's never worked. So it's like, this is nothing new to me. Like,
That's good.
I didn't even notice when I sat down next to you, like, oh, I can't hear you. Yeah, what else is new?
See, that's good. I like that. It's normalized.
I'm accustomed.
That's
Yeah,
good. You roll with the punches that way.
Yeah.
I love when now we can hear crystal clear.
Now I can hear you crystal clear. It's almost thrown me off a little bit to tell you that should not work good.
It's like, is everything okay?
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah, hear an echo.
You learn in this business to figure out how to work out things without it working.
Yeah.
That is for sure. You learn that early on. Definitely. Brent Martin, Austin Lane. Nick in the daytime with us. He's back there punching buttons, but I do want to bring up Valentine's Day because I'll forget about it.
Happy Valentine's
He's
Day,
getting
Nick.
married soon.
It's a big one, Brent.
So is this a big Valentine's Day?
Is this a big Valentine's Day? This is the Valentine's Day of all Valentine's Days for him.
It is, but like Hamby's getting married this year. This is my message to you folks. Set the standard now. Set the standard now, guys. Like, don't let this be too big of a thing.
Whataburger, here we come.
Yeah, like, don't. If you want to, you got to do something. I get it. You got to do it. Keep up with the Joneses, all that stuff. Like, because Hallmark said you got to do it, you got to do it. Or she'll be mad, probably. And then you're in the doghouse, and it's a Friday, and you're going into the weekend, and you don't want that. So I get it.
Speaking from experience, Brent,
No,
that was pretty.
This is why I can say all this stuff is because Steph's the greatest on this stuff. She's never complaining about it. Like, she's awesome about it. But I still have to do the token thing. I won't be getting flowers today. We've been married for 25 years. Steph, you ain't getting flowers today. Sorry. Happy Valentine's Day. But like, we're going to like a baseball game. That's our date tonight.
That's cool.
All right. That's what we do.
Buy her some Cracker Jacks. There's some popcorn, Brent. Happy Valentine's Day, Steph.
But she gets it. Like, that's not like we're going to get divorced next week because of it. That's just normal. But so what I'm trying to tell you, 25 years, so you got to set. You can do things that are nice, but you don't need like this. You don't need to go to the jewelry store. You know, you don't need to go crazy with the whole setup, the pedals, and the romantic evening. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to, Nick.
It's quality time, Nick. Quality time is a big thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the plan. We got a movie.
How many roses, Nick?
How many roses? Oh, it's going to be a dozen if I can find them. So we're going to go see the new Captain America at 5 o'clock.
Trust me, you can find.
Oh, you'll find them just fine. Yeah, all right.
Roses aren't that expensive either. I always thought like roses were the most expensive thing. It's like go to Publix, man.
Are they not? Are you sure? Have you seen eggs lately?
$14.
You seen eggs? I don't know.
Have they tear up the roses?
Hey, I don't know, man. I feel like everything's taking a hit.
Roses, though, are like $25 at Target.
$100 for a dozen.
$25.
Brent, I'm telling you,
expensive at Publix, man, or Winn-Dixie.
I think roses are taking a hit with the tariffs. I think roses taking a hit.
Have they really?
They might be. I don't know.
We import roses.
California is the biggest exporter, so I don't think a tariff's going to hit that one.
Well, some would argue that is a different country. Sorry, it's just like low. It's a low hanging fruit.
But you couldn't help yourself, could you? Okay, so Nick, you mentioned going to a movie. What movie you guys going to see?
Captain America, the new one, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name. I don't know the full name of it. It's the first. It's the first Marvel
Brave
movie.
New World.
Since...
Brave New World.
Right.
Okay. Captain America, Brave New World. Let's do our due diligence here. Was this your idea or her idea?
I think it was our idea. I think we saw like in the Super Bowl or something, or we were watching maybe New Girl, and we're like, yeah, I think that'd be fun to go see. And then I just bought the tickets.
Okay.
So
you were watching the Super Bowl or whatever, and you saw Harrison Ford turn into the Red Hulk, and you said, you know what, babe? Let's go see this on Valentine's Day.
Heck yeah. She was like in for it too.
Okay, hey, I respect it. That's cool. I'm not hating. Yeah,
I like her.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
Well, want to see a Marvel movie? Because I'm thinking like he's gonna go see like some kind of. I'm sure there's some kind of rom-com out there right now, Brent. Right?
Of course.
There's got to be. Or there's like some kind of slasher rom-com.
There was one I proposed, but she said her and her friends when they were down this way a couple months back had seen it and they didn't like it. So I was like, well, whatever. But no, so we're gonna do that and then we'll go to dinner. Our reservation is actually super late. It's 9:30.
That's good. That's like normal dinner time for us in the news business, right?
Give or take, yeah.
I mean,
that break at 7. You're eating dinner.
I'll be sleeping by then, but okay.
Going to an Italian
what's interesting
spot
to me is Okay. I like it. It feels like
Dude's going to
reservations.
Dude's going to Little Caesars. It's cool.
No, it's a nicer like
Yeah.
Little Caesars in a Marvel
I'm itching for
movie.
pizza.
I got you.
All right. I like
Okay.
it.
Cool.
It feels like, and I don't know this because I'm not playing this game anymore, but it feels like a lot of folks on Valentine's Day now don't go on Valentine's Day to avoid the heavy. Now, it works out perfect. It's a Friday this year, but like. I was curious in our own department. I was like, all right, who's got the Valentine's plans? Who's got And nobody was like jumping at Valentine's Day. And Weber was like, well, I think I'm working that night. I'm playing on Saturday anyway. And I didn't know what Liv was going to do or whoever, and Marcel, anybody else.
Yeah.
Hick's been married forever right now. I don't think he has to do anything. He's kind of in my camp.
He served his time.
He served his
time. He earned his stripes.
Like, I don't know what that time frame is, but it's like, do you really want to go battle everybody on reservation night here on Valentine's Day?
No, that's a rough
we just
one.
go out on Wednesday,
Or just make dinner.
dinner.
I mean, that's a nice gesture.
Yeah. So anyway, my message here is simply get it done, but set the standard low, fellas.
Yeah.
You got to live up to it.
Dude, I hate to tell you, man, because like I don't know if you've been following kids these days, Brent, but with the youth, because obviously I have a 9-year-old who we had to put Valentine's together and everything. Man. Hey, do you remember when it was just like you spot like a pack of Valentines, you write people's names? Hey, those days are gone.
What do you got?
We got to do candy. We got to do like some sort of like a little cush ball or like a little ball. Brent, you thought we were at the Grammys with these gift baskets.
We're doing gift bags.
Oh, it is a gift bag.
Everybody in the class.
Hey, well, it's not just one person. You have to include everybody, right? You can't just have one person. Because, back in the days, too, if you get a crush, you just make that one special Valentine. I can't. Not anymore, man. Everyone's got to be treated equally.
Well,
we got cush balls over here. We got sweet tarts over there. Let's go.
You got to teach Ronan early then. Just be like, hey, dude, just get a girlfriend the week of and then just take her or her.
Well, so that's the thing. And we've been over this.
He's 9.
No, remember, we talked about this. He had a girlfriend. We on the show when we talked about the girlfriend? Ronan's girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can't remember if you were on the show that day or not. But, so he still, I guess, has a girlfriend, kind of, but she lives, she's visiting her grandparents in Japan. So she's been gone for 4 or 5 months. Don't
you got to figure it out at 9.
Well, I guess. But I'm like, so you guys still are you guys still going out? And he's like, I think so. I'm like, well, have you talked to her? He goes, no. I go, okay, man. Whatever.
So awesome.
I guess
that's great.
Yeah.
The innocence is awesome.
So casual about it,
Okay.
Taking after his old man, so casual about relationship.
That is so good. I kind of was thinking about that today a little bit about Valentine's Day. Is it more of a, because elementary school Valentine's Day, it is one of those days too. It's like a weird deal. It's like Valentine's Day feels different at different stages of your life, but it actually starts early. It does start because the Valentine's Day is like a thing if you're even in kindergarten. Hey, why not express some love? There's enough hate in the world. Let's go express some love. That's fine. Yeah. But then it's a fun thing with all cards, and like you said, now I guess it's even more than that.
Yeah.
But then there's got to be a lull in the action, like middle school or early high school, and then all of a sudden you start dating a girl. Now you got to make it a big thing because everybody's making it a big thing.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like Nick's age, and then you get married. And you're like, oh, if I can't mess up this one, I got to go do.
Yeah.
The time when you're playing Valentine's Day is like playing defense.
No, listen. When I was coming up, and I've told this story before, but when I was coming up in kindergarten, first grade, I was like a general manager of love. You know what I'm saying? I had my first round picks, and then I had my undrafted free agents, and all the first round picks because we had different kind of Valentines. So I remember one time I had the NASCAR Valentines. All the first round picks got Jeff Gordon Valentines.
Rainbow Warrior.
The Rainbow Warrior, man, because that was the big guy, right? And then all the undrafted free agents, if you get my drift, they all got Mark Martins, Bobby LeBounties. Sterling Marlin. I think there was a guy named Sterling Marlin. I don't know why he was in the whole mix, but they got them.
Boy, and then, didn't like that guy.
No,
girl.
Exactly. And then the other year, I remember we had Space Jam because Space Jam was a big time movie. Cool. So all the first rounders got the Michael Jordan. And then if you were a girl who was maybe nice to me, but sorry, just we're friends, you're getting the Tasmanian Devil. All right. Enjoy your sweethearts. Enjoy the Tasmanian Devil. I got to focus on my first round picks.
Life's good.
Life's good, man.
As long as I got something.
Everyone got something, but some just got better with, the Jeff Gordons and the Michael Jordans.
The Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin comp is so good, though.
Oh, it's
like,
come on, man.
It's crystal clear.
No one my
like
age
where
is-
you were grading.
Exactly.
Your blue chippers versus your special
Oh,
teamers.
dude, even the girls knew. Like, I mean, I think I saw one girl. I think her name was Hannah. She saw like the Mark Martin. She was like, "Oh." She's just like, "Ah, dang it."
Oh man.
Thought I had that touch of that, Senior Bowl first round grade. Sorry, Hannah. Got to give you the undrafted grade instead.
I feel like I might have to. I don't know if Delphonic's on the show today, but is he in the chat? If not, I might have to hire him to
Let's
make
go.
a GM of love.
Jim Love, man. Yeah, start him young, Brent.
That is good stuff. Speaking of, you asked a question a while ago, and somehow we got on Valentine's.
Oh,
Day,
yeah, I forgot
20
about
minutes ago.
Yeah.
20 minutes, which was fun. But you asked a question that you would ask the GM, like with 10 interviews.
Yeah.
So you get to ask one question. But that'd be awesome. Hey, we're going to take some viewer questions here today. Hey, James Gladstone.
Season ticket holders.
Season ticket 30 years. They would like to know this. And you know what? It's a pretty darn good question.
Can you imagine, like, when they start rolling out the season ticket perks, and that's one of the perks is like, hey, if you want the gold platinum package, you get to ask the maybe an aspiring GM a question.
That would be terrific.
Oh yeah, hey Jaguars, you guys listen to this?
I want transparency.
Yeah.
I want engagement.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that, but I like it.
I like it.
Season ticket. The season ticket office right now is like, hey, we're writing that one down. I like that.
Yep.
We just got a upgrade special.
Yep.
So what would we ask? We got fly on the wall was how we do this. It came up a while ago, and we like to be the fly on the wall and ask that question of said GM. And if you just get one question, obviously there's too many to ask, right? You're going to get your basic questions of, the vision and everything else. And
Yep.
I think the big thing that I would ask if I was in that room and I could come in for one question, and I guess it could be viewed as a two-parter, but it's who are you getting the toughest call to get rid of, but you got to make that move. That's what I'm fascinated with this whole thing coming in, and it's a collective decision. But I could simply just say Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, keeping them both.
Yeah.
Or I could simply say, hey, take our offense. Who are you keeping? Who are you getting rid of? Because I think there are a lot of tough calls, and contractually, they're all like in, right? So, I think that is a serious, hard conversation, and I would want the feedback, even if I don't end up giving it the job to them. So it's an educational experience.
I like that.
But I also think, is this guy going to have the conviction about our roster? First of all, to have a feel for it, because you better be able to do that if you're interviewing for the job. But two, to be able to make the tough decision. Mm-hmm. And why would they make that decision? Because the why would come after that, right? And the explanation would come. And I really would be interested in that because we go back and forth on this. Like this whole offense could come back, but does that make sense if this whole offense comes back and the only thing you change is really the scheme and the coaching staff? Now, that's massive, but are we okay with the whole thing coming back after really they've disappointed the last couple of years? And so I think I would really ask that and would love to hear their answer. And if I had to dial it in more, I really would go to the Kirk and Ingram part of this and how they see that. Because let's just take this. However they answer that question, if I had any of these guys right now and they would be truthful, obviously they probably wouldn't tell us much right now. But if they would really share that and be transparent, then I could start to figure out, okay, the puzzle pieces where we're going in free agency and the draft and everywhere else. Right? Does that bring receiver out of? Does that get receiver out of play at all in the first round? Does that get Walker Little? I thought that signing was terrible. Is there someone going to say that? Oh, that brings offensive tackle into play in the draft now. If this guy feels that way about it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a long answer. It's going to solve a lot of riddles, in my opinion. But it's take this offense. Who you keeping, who you getting rid of? You can't bring it all back.
Okay, I like that. I would probably fall into that same vein, but I'd probably word things a little differently. So if I was going to ask a candidate that's going to be the GM a couple things, here's how I would word it. First, I would go, and this is all like one thing, but it's different sections. So first I would go, in this draft coming up, from 1 to 3, 1 being the most important, give me the 3 biggest draft needs of this Jaguars team. Okay? That would be the first thing I would say. Second thing I would ask him then, based on what you've seen from this roster right now, and assume that you've done your research, because let's be honest, if you're in an interview, you better do your research, which player on this roster could be in line to get extended? Because, and here's why I'm asking that, and this is more, I think, of a question for Tony Baselli, because Tony Baselli's around this team a lot. He understands. It's one thing if you're a GM to kind of do your research and go, okay, I can see stats, right? I can watch a little film here or there. But, like, nobody knows maybe who's more eligible for a new contract or what it means to a team than guys like Tony Baselli, like even like me and you, Brent, because we get paid to cover this team, right? So we know these players in and out. That GM may not. So I think that question's going to show, well, how much due diligence have they done so far? How much research have they done? Taking a look just past the stats, but also like the mentality, a good teammate, things like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit tricky for the Jag spot because this wasn't open 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
So like when you're trying to, you got to really do your homework and dive in and everything else, and maybe part of the reason they had to let this play out a little bit longer too.
Yeah.
But like Liam Cohen, he already is going to see the Jags like 5 times by watching film of other teams through the course of the season. Yep. So he's already familiar. And then he also knew, hey, I'm putting together a plan because I might be a hot commodity, and my agent said to be a hot commodity, and the Jags could be making a move, so I might want to be at least looking here and there an hour a week or whatever it is. The GM stuff, all these guys, they didn't know this job was even open.
But there's going to be some of them, Brent, they're going to go above and beyond to try to learn this roster real quick. And those are the type of guys that I want, because if you can come in here, you can give me a good answer of who deserves to get paid maybe the next couple of years or so because you've done your due diligence. Well, then what's going to happen when the draft's coming up and you got a short time to work? Like, I already know you're going to put the hours in.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like it. Hey, how about you? Fly on the wall as we head to break, and a fly that could talk. You get to ask a question in the GM room. What would you ask the GM, a candidate? You get one question now. It comes with your new season ticket package, too. That's this fly on the wall. We are really creating a life on this whole fly movie. But what would you ask? Seriously, and I think that's there are a lot of questions. How do you dial it down to get your question answered so you can deep dive and figure out the right GM for the Jacksonville Jaguars, or get some intel? See, that's the way I approach it. Get some intel from these guys at the outside world looks at our team, because I think that's always a healthy thing to do. How does the outside world look at everything we're doing? We might think a little bit differently. Take a time out. Brent and Austen Show from Jags headquarters, where they are finishing up interviews for the Jacksonville Jaguars general manager this week, and one will be hired by this time next week. And then the combine comes soon after that. We'll be up there in Indianapolis for it. Heading into the weekend here. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Make sure you take care of your loved one for sure, just like Nick will tonight. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick GMC. We are professional grade.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Kruzanovich's under-23 men's team.
They sit in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future. with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $500 on a Connecticut Premier Softener and get a free Connect Salt Monitor with purchase. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, there's a look at this preseason classic for flag football. And there's the scene. I mean, they got a lot of cool stuff out here for the kids, taking pictures, having some fun. The old coloring stand. I don't know what they call that, but I think it's kind of cool that they have for Jags fans. They brought it out for the kids as well.
You can autograph
really
and stuff.
Create a good experience, right? Oh yeah, we got touchdown.
88 out the gate. Let them know about it.
That is
had a little bit of the Tyreek Hill kind of the little jaunt at the end there. I'm not mad at that sway.
Excited around here. I'm
not mad at that.
Anyway, great day here, great weekend, really. This is not just a day-long thing. This is also happening all tomorrow, and it started yesterday for this preseason flag football classic here at Jags headquarters. Jaguars Prep puts it on. Obviously, got some good partners, too. And we will have our game of the week in flag football starting next Saturday. So we actually record it during the week. We'll be at a game each and every week for the next 8 weeks or so. And then Action Sports Jax primetime on Saturday nights, we highlight that game. So watch Saturday nights, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. And we will highlight a lot of action around the area in flag football. So I'll actually give you this little spiel right now. I was talking to Ivory from NCAA. They actually have someone from NCAA eligibility here to educate the girls on what's going on with the sport. We got another one?
Brent,
we got action all over the place.
It's just nonstop touchdowns right now, Brent, over here. This is unreal.
By the way, they don't take like a water break in between touchdowns. I mean, that was another touchdown.
We have two Ryan Nielsen coach defenses right now, and they are not. Sorry. Sorry, is that too soon?
Not really.
Okay, well, I don't know, man.
I didn't expect.
Well, I'm seeing deep shot after deep shot here. My bad.
So, just give you a brief little. I learned a little something over here. I did not know this. So, I was talking to the NCAA eligibility folks, and we're just talking how fast growing flag football is, and, which is obvious. Look at the NFL. Look at what they did in the Super Bowl. Look how they're supporting
the commercial is great.
Right?
Yeah.
And we know the Jags support it. Like, this is a thing. It's almost like a competition amongst NFL teams. Like, how much can you boost local sports in the area? Girls flag football, high school football, all the rest. And these guys here in Jacksonville, Adriel Rocha and Kaylin and their team, they do a great job. And I think it's very well received what they've done over the last handful of years. We've partnered with them on both flag football side and the football side on Friday nights, and really do a terrific job with all of it. But the NFL is doing that. And the NFL gets behind something. Usually that's going to really give it a boost. Yeah. And we also have it coming to the Olympics. And so the Olympics is going to give it a boost, going to give it eyeballs, going to give it attention, and going to drive people to want to do it. But what we've already seen, and I don't know if everybody knows this, it's already in colleges to some degree. And a lot of the junior colleges have picked up girls flag football. I know Kaylee's down at Daytona State. They have a girls flag football team down there.
Cool.
So in the last couple of years, they'll give scholarships out in some of these schools. Alabama State, I think, became the first Division I to give scholarships out for flag football. And so more and more are doing it.
Yeah.
It's in 40 out of the 50 states right now that's sanctioned in high school. So that will just show you some of the growth. But what I didn't realize is the NCAA labels something an emerging sport before they will give it championship sport status. And so I'll give you an example. Girls wrestling. Girls wrestling was one of the fast risers. It became an emerging sport and then quickly became a championship sport. And I think just in January became a championship sport now in college athletics with the NCAA.
Yep.
But you have to have, I think, between 40 and 50 schools at least participating to get into the championship realm.
Okay.
Well, they've got like 75 in wrestling. It's a fast-growing one. Boom. They just did it. There's thought that flag football would become the fastest sport to start, get to emerging, get to championship that maybe they've ever had in the NCAA.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, kind of the parameters of it. You need like 50 schools to at least give scholarships out, something like that, 50 programs. You got to get on the emerging list, and then you get to the championship list. I don't know all the whole process, but I just thought that was kind of fascinating. And they think this one will get there quicker than anything else. So that's how fast this sport is growing.
No, and it's all about, representation, Brent, right? I mean, it seems like a decade ago we were celebrating one of the very first, female NFL coaches, like as an assistant, getting her opportunity. And now we're seeing more and more females, get opportunities, whether it's in terms of the front office, whether it's in terms of on-the-field coaching, like everyone's being represented. And now we're seeing, girls flag football kind of reach that echelon now as well. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's great. So anyway, just want to give that background. I learned that this morning. And I think it's pretty cool. And so here's what's fascinating to me when we're living in this world. We live in the college space right now with our kids. We also have lived in the high school space, and the high school space is different than the youth sports space. And it kind of gets real when you get into the high school space and you're thinking about, okay, am I going to play in college or not? And we also know this. We love college athletics. We love high school athletics. We do a lot with Action Sports Jacks on both fronts. It is so hard to play college athletics right now. It is really difficult. They don't want freshmen. Quite frankly, they don't want freshmen. They want older people playing sports at the college level. If you're a high school kid, they really don't want you if they think they're good.
Go to the military for like 5 years and then come out of military.
I hate to be blunt, but it's true. And so it makes it hard to navigate because there's no other way to go. Like, you're going to college, well, you got to, how do you do it? And now, we're going to see roster limits in baseball and other sports. There's all that, and we know that. We've talked about that. I won't bore you with that, but that's a real thing. What I think was interesting here, and this is why the NCAA even came out to this event, is what this looks like in 2 years versus what it looks like right now is going to probably drastically change. or 3 years. So you could be a high school freshman.
Yeah.
And right now, there are no college scholarships offered at most schools. Well, in 3 years, you might be looking at a sport that is offered. So while this is a secondary sport for you as an athlete right now, a lot of these girls will play basketball or they'll run track or whatever it is, volleyball, and then play this almost for fun.
Yep.
Well, this could, in 3 years, become like the sport, and it becomes your major sport. But what an interesting transition time, because it's hard to plan parentally or even as a kid or a coach and everything else. It's like, all right, I feel like I'm playing this for recreation, having a good time, playing another sport. That's cool, but it's not my primary sport because I can't get a scholarship. Well, guess what? Like, you could try to predict that in 3 years, there are going to be a lot of people offering college scholarships for girls playing flag football, but it's an inexact science to try to predict that.
No, it's an inexact science, but listen, I think the growth is obviously there. NFL is getting behind it, and who knows what we're talking about in another decade, Brent, right? Like, obviously a collegiate sport, but also, like, could you have a pro league then? You know, like, could young girls out there, you know, watch a pro league and be like, I want to be a professional flag football player one day and try to make a living off that? I mean, we've seen just what a few players in the WNBA have done now for women's basketball in terms of growth, in terms of making more money. Why not the same thing for flag football?
What I don't know, and I'm going to be just as honest as I can here, I don't know if this is a great TV sport or not. And if it's not, is that a problem? Can you make it into one? Because as we see, you need that, right? Don't you? If you really want to grow it.
Sure.
If you like to crazy levels, you need stars.
Yep.
But you need to watch those stars most likely on TV and other platforms.
You need stars and personalities.
And personalities, right? So, like, obviously basketball is a good TV sport to watch. And Caitlin Clark is really fun to watch, and we get to know her because of TV. We would have no idea who she is if it wasn't because of TV.
But let's be honest, though, Brent. Like, people weren't really watching the WNBA, and they had stars before. There was great players before, but then Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese came along during the college years, and all of a sudden it's like it put it on a whole new pedestal. So who's to say there's some girl out there who's got an arm like Patrick Mahomes who can do these crazy things, and maybe guess what? She's got an attitude to go along with it. Well, now maybe you got something there.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, like, it might not only be, it's got to be viewable, but it's got to have stars.
Correct.
And so what does that look like in this sport? I have a hard time visualizing that, is my point.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's going to look like, listen, we're a sucker for highlights, right? And we're a sucker for clips. So if you get girls out there that, I don't know, maybe someone's hurtling somebody. Maybe, you know, I mean, there's all it takes is a couple clips here or there to be like, all right, I got to check this out and see what it's all about.
I can tell you, we've had like high school last year covering highlights. I mean, there's definitely the haves and have-nots. I mean, there were some, like Fleming Island was really good. And watching them play, it's like, holy cow. I mean, it's like good stuff. But there's a distinction there. Yeah. And we even have that right now. Like, again, we're big softball. We watch Florida Gators play in softball right now against other teams, like teams that are Division I, Stetson or a UNF. UNF's a good team in the A-Sun. Like, they might win the league.
Yeah.
And it's a different game. It's a different game. You can watch UNF and Florida play baseball, and there's a chance UNF beats them.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, there's still, like, there's levels of this where it might take 5, 10, 15, 20 years to get the parity that you want and everything else. That's what we started to see with women's basketball. It used to be Tennessee, then it was UConn, and it was like 3 teams. It was really 3 teams that could maybe win. Yeah. And maybe it was 2, or maybe it was just 1. Maybe it was Tennessee and UConn, right? And that was it.
That was it for a while.
But now they're actually, like, somebody just won last night. Somebody beat UCLA. I think USC beat UCLA.
You got TCU's coming up. Obviously, South Carolina's still pretty solid. Yeah,
there's a lot of teams for parity.
Yeah.
But we're getting it now in women's sports, where now you can see a 13 seed maybe beat a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament.
That's true, because that's why we tune in to watch, right? And that's a great point, Brent, because maybe that's what was lacking in women's college basketball a little bit. Like, we love to watch the Cinderella stories of men's basketball, right?
Oh, yeah.
You hardly ever got those with women's basketball. Oh, here comes, Vanna Taurasi and the UConn Huskies for like the 5th year in a row winning a championship. Oh, here comes Pat Summitt and, making the Daytimes girls to win another 3rd championship in a row. Like, yeah, there wasn't much to be said for that.
That is true. And it's, in one respect, like, you tip your cap to Tennessee and UConn, but it was really like one of the most easiest things to dominate. Like, once you built the dominating program, you dominate.
Correct.
You can't do that in a lot of sports. Yeah. But now we've got more parity, which I like. I like that quite a bit. Brent Austen Lane, Nick in the daytime here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, hanging out at Jags headquarters and talking a lot about Obviously, the Jaguars and their GM search again next Friday will be the day. Hey, Nick, let's get to some sound from Grant Udinski, the offensive coordinator that we didn't play yesterday. If you don't mind, I want to talk a little Brian Thomas Jr. here, get his thoughts. We played about 5 minutes of this yesterday on the show, and he talked, and obviously Heath Farwell talked, and Anthony Campanile talked, and I thought there were some leftovers that we didn't get to with Udinski that I'd like to hear him talking a little bit about Brian Thomas Jr. So, Nick, if you have that, let's hear what he had to say about BTJ.
Excitement, once again. So probably that'll be the same thing I answer for probably 10 of these questions is excitement overall. Like we talked about with the players and the opportunity to work with these guys, he's one of the guys where you watch the tape and it's hard to stay seated watching his tape, just in terms of the excitement and the tools and the ability that he has and the potential there for, you saw the results this year, but the potential for growth beyond this year and the different ways you can use him to attack defenses in a multitude of ways.
I'm the same thing.
Well, there you go. That's Grant Udinski on Brian Thomas Jr. Did he say it's hard to stay seated when watching the tape? Like, that's pretty good stuff, right? I mean, sometimes you feel guys and their energy on a podium or their personality. He's kind of calm, cool, and collected. Udinski was in that news conference yesterday.
Yeah.
But his words said a lot more. Mm-hmm. And he'll get more into Trevor Lawrence here in a moment, but it's like, I'm fired up to work with Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. I'm fired up to work with Liam Cohen. I can't stay in my seat watching Brian Thomas Jr. I just continue to say this here about Jacksonville. I think Trevor's a key piece and a piece that people still look at in a very positive way when you come in to Jacksonville for this whole staff. And there's good reason to. I think it was Hamby yesterday that brought this up. I thought it was a great point. There have now been 3 coaches that have bought into this Jacksonville deal here because of Trevor Lawrence. That's how much belief they have. It was Urban
that
got him back into coaching. It was Doug that got him back into coaching. And it was Liam Cohen who said, I'm doing a U-turn on the Tampa deal and coming over because I'm not missing this opportunity.
Yeah.
So, that will tell you about Trevor Lawrence, and we'll talk more about Trevor in a moment. But we also haven't had the feel of a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. since I've covered the team. I had 17 years in a couple of weeks. And I know you go back to Jimmy Smith and you go back to Fred Taylor, and we've had great players. Maurice Jones-Drew, everybody would love to coach Maurice Jones-Drew. I just feel like people are looking at this piece of the puzzle in a different way. When he says, I can hardly stay seated watching the film on this guy, that's because in his head are all these different ways to use Brian Thomas Jr. and how they envision offense. And I think that's a really cool deal here in Jacksonville that Liam Cohen, Udinski, all these guys, Spencer Whipple, you name it, everybody here has that piece to work with, including, by the way, the rest of the staff. It's not just the coach and just the OC that's going to work with this guy. Yeah. They'll also have input to try to make him better, make him an all-pro, make him a perennial all-pro, make him one of the best receivers in the game, which he showed he's got the ceiling to do.
No, listen, it's refreshing is what it is, Brent, right? And obviously with Trevor Lawrence, we got to see some more stuff, right? The intrigue is still there, the hope is still there, but we got to see it for ourselves now, and hopefully that's going to happen. But with Brian Thomas Jr., it was almost like instant feedback, where it was like, okay, let's see what this guy's capable of. Oh, you know what? He's one of the best wide receivers, it seems like, in the league in one season and one rookie year. And you hadn't had that in Jacksonville. I feel like you haven't really had that immediate feedback from a draft pick in a long time. We had Jalen Ramsey. And that was immediate feedback, right? Josh Hines-Allen, the rookie year was good, but then a couple years, and okay, then he's the real deal. But, this was the immediate feedback. And it goes to show you, it's kind of cool to be in the same boat, as Vikings fans or, as Dolphins fans, where it's oh, yeah, we got Justin Jefferson. Yep, we got Tyreek Hill. Or the Chiefs fans of old. Yep, we got Travis Kelce. We know what it is, right? That spot's all set up. We're all set there. It's going to be an offensive firepower showcase. It's cool to have that in our back pocket now. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I think it's really. We just have to keep admitting that it's here. That's here. That might be.
It doesn't feel right, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's okay. I'm not going to lie to you. Honestly, my part when I hear that stuff, I'm like, all right, well, let's just see if he does it again. Right? Let's just see. Let's just make sure he does it again. and that's not a knock on Brian Thomas Jr., by the way, at all. I mean, I think he's more capable. And, you know, I have no idea where ceilings are for these guys. So I think we see the point is we see good players here. Their job is to get them from here to here. And that's going to be the job of this staff. But when you're excited about working with a piece and everybody says it like that, you're starting to see a lot of respect around the league. What we really want in Jacksonville is for people to talk about Trevor that way.
Yes.
That's what we want. That's what you need. Now, that you have arrived if they're talking about Trevor that way. Now, listen, people will say a lot of nice things, visiting coaches, other people, whatever, about Trevor Lawrence. That's fine. They see the talent. But we want them to fear Trevor Lawrence. Can we get to the point where they fear Trevor Lawrence? I think, in a sense, there's a little bit of fear right now around Brian Thomas Jr. because you can coach it all you want against him, but you can't mimic the speed. Correct. And that's why people say about what they do about Tyreek Hill or the greatness of a Justin Jefferson. He just has all the different elements. This dude has an element that you can't coach against, and that's his speed. And that's tough to defend even if you come up with the greatest scheme that you think you have. So they fear him. There's so many players around here in Jacksonville that people have feared over the years. It needs to also add Trevor Lawrence to the list on offense, and it would be a great deal.
Well, and here's the beautiful thing about it, Brent. And health is obviously a major factor here in my argument, but if you can stay healthy and you have Brian Thomas Jr. take another step forward, then naturally Trevor Lawrence will be in the conversation then of being a great player.
True.
Right? Because, yes, Jamar Chase is a great wide receiver. Guess what? So is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback as well. Tyreek Hill is a great wide receiver. Well, say what you want about Tua, but he led the league in passing one year because of guys like Tyreek Hill. Justin Jefferson is a great wide receiver. Well, Sam Darnold kind of got put back on the map after just one season. We'll see how that's going to all pan out now because why? Well, all it has to do with Justin Jefferson. So it goes hand in hand. So if you can stay healthy and you can have another repeat, even better maybe, do I dare say, than Brian Thomas Jr. did last year, well, then Trevor Lawrence naturally, unless it just goes all the hell, is going to be in that conversation.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is he seriously the first person that maybe has been feared by other teams, Brian Thomas Jr., since Jalen? I mean, Jalen's really the only one in that category, right?
That's a good question.
I mean, I know Josh had a great year 2 years ago, 17.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I remember like the James Robinson hype, but even like that, it wasn't like
because they weren't.
It wasn't afraid of him.
Like quietly, like.
Yeah.
Why is he doing this? You know?
Yeah.
No, seriously, I felt like that's why he reacted to it.
Yeah. No, I would say it's the first person that teams actually got to like fear in a long time since Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, and you know now listen, I would like an offensive lineman like that too. Like that would be cool.
That'd be great,
right? Like Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how to beat that dude.
Yep.
What's his name from San Francisco? Has been so good for all these years. Tackle.
Yeah.
And then like people would talk this way about the other dude in the guard in Indianapolis. I thought at stages was overrated.
Or just the entire Eagles offensive line.
Or the whole offensive line, the Eagles.
Yeah.
And maybe Lane Johnson, kind of like that.
Yeah,
too. So
yeah.
you can be talked about that at various positions. I actually think the Jags have some candidates for this conversation. Brian Thomas Jr., it seems like he's already in it because of his skill set and speed. Trevor, you would hope, could get in it. And then I do think, not only Josh Hines Allen, but I think Trayvon could get in this conversation. I don't know if I ever see, even though he's highly paid and could be good, Tyson Campbell, I don't see that yet. I don't see him getting Jalen Ramsey kind of treatment, like where you just don't throw it aside ever.
Yeah.
They would pick on the other guy because it's a weaker side, but I don't see that. But Trayvon, I think, has a capability, man, to get there where people are like, holy cow, how are we going to chip both these guys?
Let me ask you this in terms of offensive linemen, though, and kind of filling that same bill. We saw Anton Harrison his rookie year show a lot of great things. Takes a step back, it seems like a little bit his second year. Do you think Anton Harrison can be that kind of guy?
Yeah, I just don't think I've seen it enough.
We haven't seen it enough. I know.
I don't know. Yeah. I like, and you know me. You're asking the right guy. I like Anton. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good building block around here. I just don't know that he's going that is a different status. Like it's not like a good player to do that. You know. I mean, you know, you've done this.
Yeah.
Like you've got to. I mean, it's called game planning, or is one thing to game plan around. It's even another notch to be afraid of that guy, even when you game plan.
Yeah, listen, I played with some respectable offensive linemen. Eugene Monroe is a good example. He's a good offensive lineman.
Yeah.
But then you have a guy like Joe Thomas, where it's like, oh man, here
how
we
am I
go.
beating this guy today?
Exactly.
Right?
Like a guy that you literally got to, like, you're spending extra hours just like, man, how do I beat this guy?
Like, I genuinely think, and I'm not talking about just, this is why it's so different. I genuinely think a cornerback that's super confident, all this stuff, has to play against Brian Thomas Jr. on a Sunday, on Saturday night, it's not a great sleep.
Correct.
Like, I really, like, I think it's because of his speed, by the way.
But size, too. Everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
He showcased everything.
Yeah,
but the speed is something like, I can be a really good, look at Jalen Ramsey's a great corner, and he still got beat by him. Yeah. And it's sleepy speed, we say, too, because it just sneaks up on
unassuming,
you, how good it is. So, I mean, I think that's a real deal. Can you get 3 or 4? By the way, you're never going to have 8 people that feel that, right? You're not going to do that. The Eagles are probably as close to have many, but still, who do you fear necessarily? You don't fear Jalen Hurts, but you do A.J. Brown, and you do Saquon Barkley, and you do that offensive line, to your point. And I mean, maybe you got a couple guys on defense, but that's a lot.
Guys on defense, yeah.
That's a lot. Like, you normally don't have a lot of guys in that category, is my point. You hope Trevor Lawrence gets here. Let's hear Udinski talking a little bit more about Trevor Lawrence, Nick, if we can hear from the new offensive coordinator of the Jags.
There's a lot that stands out. Once again, the physical talent, you can see, and you guys probably have had more time watching it than even me over the course of the past couple of years. The most exciting thing for me is the guy and the person as I've started to form this relationship, because like I said, the quarterback position is still played by a person. It's still a human being back there who's got to stand back there and navigate tight pockets and hits and escape and deal with 10 other guys in the huddle, all 11 on defense, and make those decisions and snap judgment. So the person that we're getting to deal with and work with on a day-to-day basis is super exciting for me, because listen, if we're up here spending as much time as we do trying to pour ourselves into somebody, he's the type of guy that you want to invest time in.
Really cool comment there, right? That humanizes these guys. And again, we don't humanize these guys often enough, I think. I think we get, we look at it as a very transactional deal, whether it's your fantasy team, you made a bet, you just want to win, season ticket, whatever. I think we forget that element of it. And this is something that really stood out. And I think this is an important deal right here, what he just said, because he comes from Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. I don't know if I saw this as much with the Rams, so I'm going to give it to Minnesota and O'Connell, because I saw examples of it this year while we were talking about, hey, is that same thing happening here in Jacksonville? And that's called love on the QB.
Yeah.
And they loved on Sam Darnold. And even when he had a bad day here in Jacksonville, it was like, hey, man, it's a tough position to play. You're not going to play it all the time at a great level. It's okay. We got you.
Yeah.
I don't think there was as much of that. I think there was more than that than we saw on a microphone from Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, everybody else. But I also think they got frustrated at times because they knew what good looked like, and they were like, this dude's supposed to be doing this. He's making $275 million. Why isn't he doing this? Like, that's what I think they had a little element of that to them. These guys, at least in Minnesota from the outside looking in, that's the outside looking in. We don't have a ton of evidence. But I love the way they handled Darnold this year.
It was good.
In the good and the bad, and I think we're starting to see more of that. We're seeing teams love on their guy. Lamar Jackson gets loved on by Harbaugh.
All the time.
The other Harbaugh loved on Herbert. There are examples. Look, Sirianni and Hurts, they pump these guys up. They positive, reinforcement, because they know it's such a hard position to play. They understand there's a lot there. And I loved what he said there, because we all feel this way about Trevor. He's a great dude. And why wouldn't you want to be around that guy? Why wouldn't you want to be pouring into that guy? Like, my wife loves him. Mom loves him and asks about him like she's asking about Tyler and Kaylee. Yeah. Like, you love him.
Yeah.
You want him to be so good. These guys are going to want him to be so good. There's a human element there that I think he just hit on that these guys seem to connect with and understand through the O'Connell tree. And I wonder if that will be with Liam Cohen and everybody else on this staff. We get a dose of that.
It will be. And I think it has to be, right? And this is truly one of the double standards of an NFL player, right? Because, listen,
My first playing time when Monday Night Football, when Chris Johnson broke my ankles because I peeked outside the gap for a second. Oh, I can get him. Nah. Chris Johnson was like, nice try, Austin. I'm going to break your ankles and embarrass you on national television with all your friends and family watching back home in Wisconsin. Appreciate you, Chris Johnson. You think I wanted Joe Cohen to come up to me and be like, hey, Austin, it's all right, bud. You know, it's your first NFL playing time. It's going to happen. Chris Johnson's an all-pro. You'll be all right. No, man. I got my ass chewed out because that's the way that it goes. But
that is the way, and that's the way the league is. That's the way the league is.
But the quarterback, it is different, Brent. And especially, I think there's two. How do I put this? There's two seasons of quarterback. There's two echelons of quarterback. There's the quarterback where you got to gain confidence, right? Where you need positive reinforcement because you're still on the cusp of trying to achieve greatness, and then all of a sudden maybe you're like Joe Burrow. Then you become like Patrick Mahomes. You become like Lamar Jackson, where yeah, sure, maybe you need some reassurance, but it's almost like you're held to such a higher standard where if you make a mistake, you understand that's on you. Right, and you got to do better. And obviously, Trevor's not there yet. A lot of quarterbacks aren't there yet, but it's about getting him to that point. So to get him to that point, yeah, you constantly have to reaffirm. You constantly have to reinforce because, like you said, it is probably the hardest position to play in all of sports. And it's so people want to see Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. They're physical beasts, right? And yes, they are. They're great athletes. But there's so much mentality that goes into it. And I saw it firsthand with Blaine Gabbert. I've said it how many times on the show, Brent. Blaine Gabbert, watching him at practice, I thought he was going to be an all-pro one day because he had all the abilities. He had all the physical attributes to be a fantastic quarterback. Where it went wrong with Blaine Gabbert is you threw him into the fire when he wasn't expecting it, when he wasn't ready. And when he wasn't ready and he faltered, his confidence was ruined. And we've really seen the story of his career was never really getting that confidence back.
Yeah.
So it's important as a head coach. And you see this in Minnesota with Sam Darnold, who kind of had a new lease on life. And you see this with other great coaches like a Sean McVay, where they understand, this is a hard position. This is a hard sport. You got to be there for your guy if he falters and pick him back up. And then eventually, the hope is that we pick him up so many times, he takes over, takes the training wheels off, and he's off to the races.
By the way, I think we saw this with Blake Bortles too, right? I mean, you've got to infuse the one thing you can't do, and you know this better than anybody, and I know this from a little bit of playing, but really a lot of watching. It doesn't matter. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how gifted you are. I don't care what level you play or how much money you make. If you lose your confidence or even a semblance of your confidence when you're talking about this level of play, you're screwed.
Yep.
And you might be done. And we see it from Tiger Woods to you name it. Even the great quarterback at times play poorly because of it, or great pitchers or great players. It's a natural thing. It's a human thing. You can't hide it with money. You can't hide it with fame. You can't hide it with talent. It's a human element. And we saw it up close with Gabbert. We saw it with Bortles. Listen, the greatest thing for Bortles is he did have Gus around. Gus was at least this very positive influence all the time. And even that was hard. But at least it kind of kept him because he was getting arrows everywhere, right? Trevor doesn't. I don't look at this. See, there's two ways to look at this. Trevor's like, oh, he needs that. Why does he need to be paid? We're not saying it from that point of view.
No,
I don't think we're saying it from that point of view. I don't think these guys are saying it from that point of view. Trevor's fine. Trevor can handle it. But what do I keep saying over the years? I've even said this to some players. You can only stack up so much scar tissue and negativity before you just can't overcome that mountain. You can't climb that mountain. It's impossible.
Before it becomes your identity. That's just who you are.
And you believe it. You start to believe it. Like Trevor right now at 25 years old still knows he's damn good. He still believes he's really good. He still believes he hasn't tapped into what the best Trevor is. He's frustrated by that, I would think, to some degree. That's why he owns some of this when you talk to him. But if you do this for 2 more years and you make the wrong moves and the wrong calls, and you don't put stuff around him or he gets hurt again, these are things that sooner or later it just becomes too much of a mountain to overcome. That's what's really impressive with what Baker Mayfield did this year and what Sam Darnold did this year. And guess what? You've got 2-3 guys on this staff that came from those guys. They must have infused positivity so much they were able to help him regain confidence to play the way they did. Don't sleep on that. There's a psychology here that's really important, and I don't think this is not a knock on Doug, But I really think Doug and other coaches and like the older coaches are so tied to that quarterback. Some of it's still hard to comprehend that these guys are making the money they're making, even if they haven't done anything yet, that I think there's this like natural frustration when it doesn't go well. I mean, Doug was clearly frustrated with Trevor at times, and maybe had a right to be. I mean, hit the passes against Houston. You win the game. Yeah. We're not 0-4. Yeah. Like, there's a good reason to be frustrated with your franchise quarterback, but you almost can't show it. You got to be like, no, you're good, man. Don't worry. That was whatever. You got to be the golfer. What do I say about the golfer? It was the grass's fault. It was the fans' fault. It was the ball's fault. It was the caddy's fault. Blame somebody else. Keep that quarterback as confident as possible.
This is where we go wrong. And listen, I'm guilty as charged as well, where we think that you can just draft a quarterback number 1 overall, call him a generational talent, and he immediately comes in and changes everything around. But it's all about the environment that you get drafted to. It's all about your setting. It's all about the people you have around you. And the story of Trevor Lawrence so far is he really hasn't had a lot of support when it's come to coaches, sometimes when it's come to players and drafts and all this stuff. It's just we feel like he wasn't set up to succeed. And I always go back to Bill Belichick on Pat McAfee. And by the way, hey, Bill Belichick, happy Valentine's Day to you too, sir. My man. But, hey.
He's buying roses.
Good for you, Bill. Good for you.
But not going to Captain America.
Probably not, Brent. Probably not. But I always go back to the interview when McAfee was asking him, like, what he thought about Sam Darnold. And Bill Belichick, who, listen, I'm not sure if he's a quarterback whisperer or quarterback guru, but he's a well-respected coach, one of the best to ever do it, flat out said, I love Sam Darnold. And a lot of coaches around the league love Sam Darnold. The problem with Sam Darnold is that he wasn't in a good situation. And when you're not in a good situation, you will never get the best out of your quarterback. And then lo and behold, what happens? He goes to Minnesota and boom, like he has a resurgence, a new lease on life. So that can't be stated enough, right? Like, we watch the college highlights. Why can't you do that in the pros? So you 90-yard bomb. Why can't... There's so much that goes into it. And yes, you have to have great players around you. Yes, you have to have a great organization. But to echo what you've been saying, you also need a coach who's going to pick you up when you fall. Because you are going to, I mean, listen, there's going to be rookie blues no matter who the quarterback is, right? But to have a coach there to pick you up and reinforce it, it's everything.
Yeah. Here's my one question before we hit a break. I don't know if that's the best way to phrase it. Is this something that people have just figured out, kind of? Or maybe there's more examples on a quieter level of this being done over the years, and we're just figuring it out? Or is this today's generation and athlete? How much of that comes into play? Where it's like, the bottom line is, this is a different generation. This is a different athlete. They want to know why. They want to know this. I think every time we say that, and I'm not this guy, that is always viewed as like a negative thing. No, it might be a realistic thing. Okay, there's a lot of great attributes about this generation that we don't have in our generation or your generation or whatever else. But I do think it's looked at negatively, like, oh, they got to be pampered now. They got to be this. They got to be that. No, that's further away. That's not on them. That's their environment. That might be the environment that they grew up in from a parental standpoint, from a society standpoint. These are uncontrollables in a lot of way. But the bottom line is you got to admit what it is. So is it just the nature of the position where we always got to keep that very confident? We got to boost that. We can't let them fall. We can't lose confidence. Maybe like a pitcher, same thing. You'd have to do the same thing over years, decades, just because it's the nature of position, or is it because it's the nature of the athlete today, the generation today? I don't know which one it is.
It's a good question. I just think it's a lot more now of the self-awareness of said athlete. And when I talk about self-awareness, let's use this as an example. So 2010, my rookie year, Jack Del Rio, we had those late practices during training camp, real tour days and everything. And then during the season, there was the option you can keep on wearing pads, you can take the pads off. And some teams took pads off, we kept the pads on. And I remember, there was, I don't want to say it was like a mutiny, 'cause that's a little aggressive, but there was a lot of blowback in that locker room at the time of, why are we still wearing pads, man? We're right in the playoff hunt. We're banged up. We're sore. And I remember, there was one day before practice where, half the team actually threw their pads in the middle. This is a little behind the scenes. Half the team, threw their pads in the middle of the floor and said, we're not going to go there in pads. And then I forgot who it was, man. It was so long ago. kind of like a sit-in. And I think it might have been Rasheed Mathis. Like, don't quote me on this, but I think it was Rasheed Mathis kind of said, hey, guys, let's just put our pads back on. Let's calm down. Let's go out there. Let's go to work because we're still in the playoffs. You know, like we're still trying to get a playoff berth. But I remember, like, back then I've been like, I was a rookie, so I didn't know what I was going to say. But like, it seemed like players like were questioning it, but we didn't want to go through with it. Right? Because like there's a certain way of doing things. It's like this is the old school way. You work hard, you play hard, you get results, right? And then we fast forward now, and it's like players became a lot more self-aware, and like you said, kind of asking the question, why are we doing this? And then I feel like coaches kind of had to catch up a little bit,
yeah,
right? Because all of a sudden now players, in terms of contracts, have a lot more power. In terms of how practices go at the CBA, have a lot more power. So you gave players a lot more power, and I think in doing that, coaches kind of had to cater to them a little more. So I think it goes hand in hand, but it's a long-winded answer here. But what I think it comes down to is when you gave players a lot more power, you started to take notice of them a little more. And you take notice of a quarterback because, well, he's the most important position in all of sports. And if that quarterback is shook up, if that quarterback is mentally not there, they took it upon themselves to go, hey, well, let's try to fix this and get the better person out of him.
Well, I think it's a great point. I think what you bring up basically and all that is you know, you do have to be aware. You've got to understand what reality is. You've got to acknowledge what you said at the start of this conversation is there's a double standard for that quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're a team. That quarterback's not asking for it to be a double standard. That's the reality of it, is that it's a double standard.
There's a reason why he has to wear the red jersey in practice.
That's right.
Right? There's a reason why after the loss, probably the cameras are going to be on him.
That's right.
Right? That's the double standard, and that's the way it has to be.
Yeah. So anyways, really, we started here on, I feel like this group has been around a couple of guys that you've had to do that with, that some of these guys on this offensive staff, and they know what that looks like. And I think they know that's the younger side of this. They know how to relate to that. And I just think you're going to see a lot more vocal love, I will say, for Trevor Lawrence. I think. Maybe it's up behind the scenes that Jaguars.com does when they're mic'd up. But that's what we saw out of like Kevin O'Connell sometimes, some of that NFL filmsy stuff, where he would go up to, who was it, Anthony Richardson, right? And he's like, hey, you're going to be great in this league. He was doing it to other quarterbacks, right? Yep. He was trying to infuse that into him because it just feels like they know what is on the plate of these guys. What can they do to help carry the weight? Correct. Or at least keep the shoulders up tall while they're carrying the weight. And I think it makes a lot of sense. It really does. It's just not the old school way of doing it.
No, that's a great point with Anthony Richardson. It says a lot, though, right? To go to your opponent and be like, hey, man, you're going to be great one day. Dude, if I was a coach and I'm a defensive coordinator and we just had a field day in the quarterback, hey, I'm going up to him, hey, welcome to the NFL. I'll see you next year. It's going to be a lot more of this. Yeah, buckle up, buddy. You know, that's what I'd be doing. Right. But I think it says a lot when you can go to your opponent and say, hey, keep your head up. You're going to do great things in this league.
What a great dynamic, actually, that is, because on the defensive coordinator, you're like, hey, good, I hope you keep stinking.
Exactly.
I hope your confidence is shot.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacksonville Icemen are home tomorrow. We've got college baseball starts up today. UNF and JU are around. Notre Dame's in town against UNF. By the way, check out the schedule, UNFospreys.com. They've got everything going on campus at the moment. And again, Icemen downtown. They've been playing some good hockey. Got a win on Tuesday night over Orlando. They'll try to beat the Solar Bears once again on Saturday here in Jacksonville. JacksonvilleIcemen.com for tickets, of course. And we've got another TV game coming up on March 1st in a couple of weeks on My TV Jackson. Also, we always like to tell you, especially since we're seeing some flag football out and about right now, about the Jacksonville Police Athletic League, jaxpal.org, how you can get involved. We've partnered up with JaxPal, and you can too. How you donate, how you be a part of their programs all over Northeast Florida. Just go read more about it, jaxpal.org. We'll take a time out. We come back. We still haven't gotten to Daniel Griffis' story today. He's our contributor here on Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network and the Brent and Austen Show, and talking about league trends. We just did it psychology-wise. Well, what about the actual numbers? We'll get into that at noon. We're live at Jags headquarters on a beautiful Friday. Hope you're having a fantastic one heading into a weekend here in Jacksonville in the middle of February. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jags Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, you can take 10% off any water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Here on Spring Sports Media Day on Action Sports Jack.
It's an opportunity, an education beyond the classroom and the sports arena. Life skills, testing skills, social skills. It's called High School 912, a program focused on maximizing the growth of students in academics, sports, and life. And here's your chance to get involved. If you're a local business, or if you just want to make a donation to help support programs like ACT and SAT boot camps, career days, Leadership Academy, Financial Literacy Academy, and so much more.
All right, another Nice High School Panther, Jack Cole.
High School 912 supports and hosts high school sporting events and several media days throughout the year. For more information on how you can get involved, visit jackshighschool912.com.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Springs, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, there's a look at an overhead look at the Miller Electric Center where we're, I know from up top it doesn't look crazy busy, but we got action inside, we got action outside, we got action for 3 days here at this preseason classic, the girls flag football. Great job by Jaguars Prep and everybody that puts this on. I might try to get Adriel on the show here a little bit. I know he's running around. Talk a little bit more about it, but we just wanted to come over and support it for a little backdrop. There's so much going on right now. I love the job sometimes. It's the NFL, right? All the other stuff. Trevor Lawrence rumors yesterday. Yeah, I even said it. I said, I love this job. NFL, thank you very much. But this is really where the job is. We love all the different sports going on. We were just talking about Ronan playing this weekend in flag football. I mean, there's so much. This is a great time of year. Got the Daytona 500. In fact, Nick, don't let me forget. I want to hear from Stuart Weber from last night in Victory Lane on the duels, and we'll set up the Daytona 500 here in a little bit as well. But then, of course, we can all deep dive on all the Jag stuff as we continue to go along. And speaking of some of the events that are going on in town, I mean, we know we're on the Daytona 500 this weekend. Got the Players' Championship coming up in a month. Right before the Players, we've got the 30th anniversary of the Amelia. And we've been telling you all about this. You can go check it out. The easiest place to do it and get tickets, AmeliaConcours.com. That's Amelia, normal spelling, Concours, CONCOURS.com. Elio Castroneves is the event's honoree. And by the way, he's down in Daytona. He got a provisional spot in the race. It's a new thing NASCAR is doing. He's running in the 500, and he's going to be the 41st car in the 500. Dang. So I was reading a little bit about that today. So Elio Castroneves is a part of that, and will be a part of things at the Amelia. Go check it out. It's a huge event, March 6th through the 9th. More than 27,000 enthusiasts a year ago, and they even had some rain last year. So hopefully the weather's better up there at Amelia Island, and you can be a part of it. Just go check it out, AmeliaConcours.com, and we'll continue to tell you about it. Up in the left side of our screen, if you want to get more information, the easiest way, click on the QR code. There's two of them there, one for Bozard and Mobile Services, another one that'll take you right to this link with the Amelia, so you can just hit that QR code on the upper left side of your screen. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, and Nick in the daytime with us. Nick, you're not showing your face at all in the show today. We just not clicking the camera. I mean,
it's making an appearance, man. The people want to see you.
I was ready.
There he is.
I was ready.
There's that burnt orange.
I didn't know if you had red on today or orange. We didn't. Orange is your red.
Yeah. Why would I have red on?
Yeah. Because it's Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm all over this Valentine's Day thing.
He's like, no.
There's no excuse for me to wear red. I don't know that I own a single article of red. And that's not intentional.
Yeah, I own a lot. Creekside Knights are red, and Action Sports Shacks has some red, so we got some red. I was thinking, actually, Action Sports Shacks, I've got a blue pullover, but I was actually thinking I might get some more red content in terms of the clothing. We got a lot of black.
Sure, okay.
With the Action Sports Shacks, because black is good because of all the sweating that we do down here.
Man, who you telling? Yes.
It helps.
Yep.
I got a lot of gray. Do have a lot of gray, not going to lie. Austin makes fun of all the gray. I've now since learned from Kaylee, too. She says, you've got to be careful wearing different shades of gray. I'm like, Kaylee, I don't give a damn what the shades of gray are.
What's up with shades of gray?
Not like the show or the 50 Shades of Grey.
No, I know
your
that.
gray sweatpants match your gray shirt because there's all different
can't have the off color. Okay. Can't have off gray colors.
Yeah.
It's got to be one uniform thing.
Yeah. So
I got you.
We were playing. She was playing a team the other last weekend.
Yep.
And I was like, I walked out of the park with Kaylee. I was like, hey, nice job, guys. Blah blah. By the way, did you see the great matchup they had on? It didn't go. Now she's got me seeing
it. Didn't go. Nothing like getting beat, but then getting beat with some off-white gray stuff. Ooh, that's nasty, man.
We did have a viewer comment send us a nasty gram the other day about Dan and I, some of the attire, Dan had a blue blazer with black pants. They didn't like that because black and blue used to be a bad combo, but now I feel like it's way more.
Maybe in black is starting to be a little more socially acceptable.
Yeah, right. So that must have been old that called in or emailed in.
Wait, somebody emailed the show.
Oh yeah,
about what Dan Hicken was wearing.
Yeah, well that happens actually more often than you'd think. But it was actually both of us. But I was offended by it because I don't know what they were referencing. They said something like, "Hey, maybe Brent should go to a tailor to get his jacket fitted correctly." And so I was like, "Well, are they trying to tell me that my jacket's too tight or my jacket's too loose?"
Busted out.
So I'm not sure. Like, are they calling me a little chubby?
Oh, I just didn't.
Or are they saying that it's like hanging off me? Like I really didn't know. I almost wanted to write back and ask.
You should have.
But I did.
Let me ask. I mean, listen. I think it takes a special type of person to leave reviews like that or suggestions. When's the last time you guys actually went online or sent an email and left a review or a suggestion? Because I'm going to be honest, I can't name a time that I've actually either I was so impressed with something or I was so distraught with something where I was like, oh, I gotta type about this. I have never done it.
I can't believe people do it. I really don't get it. That it's got to really drive you nuts, or you have to have a lot of time on your hands to look up you don't know my email most likely automatically. So that means you have to go look it up, which isn't hard, but you go look it up, and then you still have to be feeling that same sort of way by the time you click on it, and then also write the email and then hit send.
No, for real.
So there's a lot that goes into it to feel a certain way. That you took that time. Now, Schachter, I used to do a show with Aaron Schachter, and he said he would leave reviews all the time. We've had this conversation. I'm like,
sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Schachter.
Sounds about right.
He almost took it as a work of art. He loved the fact that he could leave it and then get a response.
From what? The business? Listen, I can go to a restaurant and be like, hey, if you leave us a good Google review, we'll give you 50%. No, I'm all set. I'll just pay full price next time. Nick, in the daytime, do you leave reviews? Criticisms?
Not normally.
He has.
I probably should have. No. I probably should have Monday after dinner because it was not very good. But the most recent one that I actually sent was last week or the week before. I was on a website for a cologne and noticed a typo that was grammatically wrong. And my brain is fix this, please.
I can't. I can't.
Because it was
Hold on. Okay.
It was something out cologne.
It was a cologne?
Yes. And it was that should be an hour. And I was like, go fix this, please. Now, I was hoping it was the loophole where when you comment and you find an issue, maybe they give you something for free. That didn't happen, unfortunately. I was trying to find a loophole.
Okay, but
that's what you were leaning on.
Are we sure it was a misspelling? It wasn't a French thing or something like that where, maybe it's spelled a little differently? Are we sure that's what it was?
Yeah, because it was out, O-U-T, where it should have been our, our fragrance or our this, check out our fragrance.
Okay.
But it was check out fragrance. Okay. And I was like, that's wrong. That's grammatically bad.
Well, and speaking of Google reviews and stuff, have you seen what happened to Darius Slay's mom?
Oh, I did.
Man,
that wasn't cool.
It's wrong when people.
No, okay, yeah, that's not right. But at the same time, hey, Darius Slay, you had to know that was going to happen, though.
Well, I do think you're not immune to that, right?
You can't go after Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I know, because the Swifties are everywhere, man. But, yeah, to go after Darius, so for those of you that are under a rock that haven't been following along with Darius Slay and his mom, Darius Slay had some smart aleck comments about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and everything. That gets around to the Swifties. The Swifties go to war and essentially find out that Darius Slay's mom is it in Philly? Where is she? It's probably not Philly. I forgot where he.
I feel like he's from Brunswick, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like the restaurant when I saw it was in Brunswick.
Okay,
I think it's in somewhere else.
But regardless, so his mom owns a restaurant, runs it and everything, and the Swifties went on Google and left a bunch of 1-star reviews with some pretty hurtful things about the restaurant, knowing that they hadn't even been there before. Well, that's the world that we live in, I guess.
Yeah, I did see that story, and by the way, Slay kind of is a local guy for us. Never really met him because he's been playing down the league for a dozen years. Mm-hmm. But up there in Brunswick, they're going to throw him a parade, Super Bowl parade next Saturday, by the way, up in Brunswick, which I thought was really cool for him. But I saw that story, and I'm thinking, okay, Taylor Swift has a real opportunity here because she's the heavy in all this.
She is.
Right? So she could really make it a good story.
That'd be
but
great.
How much are they going to bow up about it because he took a shot early on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or does she be like, hey, this isn't cool. This lady's been working really hard in the restaurant.
Yeah,
now Darius Slay's made a ton of money. He can help mom out too.
Of course, but she's innocent in all this.
She could turn this into a song, is what I'm saying.
She could. Yeah, she very well could.
She could definitely do that.
Yeah.
Just so I'll read you a line from this email that we got. This is for who told Brent and Dan they were looking okay to be on television. They come across as college kids that have been on a 3-day drunk and borrowed a jacket to do the sports. And then Dan was wearing a navy jacket, faded black pants, and what looked like old sneakers. Brent needs to be sized for a new correct fitting jacket.
But can we do the rest of it?
Nah, probably not.
Okay, sorry.
I don't want to get too much into it.
Okay.
But, I will say this: like we have I think there are folks that we dress down more on TV than we've ever dressed. It's the whole world,
That's the way
Well, but I do think even I wrestle with it sometimes. Now listen, like I haven't worn a tie in a while, and tie like company-wise and CEO-wise and people-wise, like a lot of people don't. We're doing sports. Like I don't think people have a problem. I haven't got called in the principal's office yet. Maybe they will, and I'll be okay with it if that is. If we want to go there, I understand that's been the standard, but it's like, especially here in Jacksonville, you dress down a little bit more and go to church than you do in other parts of the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of that's because of the heat and other things, and you're out and about shooting and doing things like that. So I'm like in between. The old guy like wants to still. I'll be honest with you. Part of the reason I don't like wearing a tie is because like by November, you feel like you've gained 15 pounds in football season, and wearing the tie, and now you're like
wearing a noose around your neck, Brent.
You really feel like it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, I really would rather feel a little bit better and more comfortable here.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, even high school, like we made a decision years ago. And I'm not sure it's the right decision. We kind of still wrestle with it, where we would go way more casual in the high school because it's like, why do high school kids want to watch a stuffy guy that's like working at a bank kind of look on TV?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where we were going with. But then like the older crowd's like, what are you wearing this on my TV for? So like I kind of get the angst about it. It's an interesting balance. But I always think it's funny when they make fun of Hickens sneakers. Yeah. It's like he's been doing that for like 30 years.
So listen, when it comes to
sneakers are everywhere now.
They are everywhere. And listen, when it comes to ties, I have a philosophy on ties, Brent. Love and death, okay? If I'm going to a wedding and I'm celebrating a marriage and some love, you know what? I will go out of my way to put a tie on. You know what? If I knew you and you passed away, I'll put a tie on and I'll come out and support. Like, that's my way of going. I'm not going to be comfortable, but I'll
do it for you.
But I'm going to do it for you because either, hey, you're 6 feet in the ground, or hey, you're getting ready to get married, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, that's a fair call.
That's the way it should be, and that's it.
Speaking of love and marriage and Valentine's Day and dressing up and everything else, we got to get Nick back in here.
No.
Because he reminded me the last time he was on the show. It's been a while. You know, Nick used to be more of a frequent appearance guy on the show.
Yeah.
But Hamby's been like good to us lately. He's been actually working for us.
Improving, yep.
And so Nick hasn't had to pinch hit as much. But the last time we had him on, he was going to the wedding. His first one ever.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he's also getting married this year. So there was a scouting opportunity.
That's right.
For Nick in the daytime. Nick, what did you take away from the wedding? How was it?
The wedding was a blast. It was very interesting being a groomsman for the first time. The biggest thing I think I came away with is one, you need to drink a lot. And two, I can only have clear liquids on the day of my wedding. I kid you not. Like, we get there early because the day is a doozy.
Okay, expand on both of those.
Yeah.
Well, one, I was sweating standing on the stage. I'm like, I'm dying up here. It's hot, small, little, like, old school church building. Doesn't have great AC. I'm dying. Like, I need water. And, you know, we get there day of. It starts off with my buddy tells us we got to get up and go to the venue early because the makeup artist, one of the two makeup artists for his fiancée, future bride, got sick the morning of the wedding. So she had to scramble to find another one. So we had to get there early to do pictures so where she could get there in time to get everything sorted. So we get there, we do the pictures early, we go back down because they've got like a speakeasy in the basement of this place. Well, I'm already kind of sweating, dying because it's the second time I've ever worn a suit. The first time I wore it was the night before. So I'm wearing the rented tux deal.
Hold on. Stop. Nope. No. Not off the hook like that. Hey, man, did you have prom? Did you have homecoming dances? Were you a ring bearer ever for a family friend? Okay, you didn't do prom.
I may have been a ring bearer for my brother in like 2009, but even then I think I just wore like a dress shirt and a vest and no tie. I've never in my life worn a suit.
Oh,
I had
unreal.
to actually.
God,
The O's were hammering you on that one.
I would have hammered him.
Who would have hammered me? The person in the email?
No, the person in the email would have been hammering you.
Yeah.
No, so I had to go buy a suit because we got the invitation to the rehearsal dinner on the night before the wedding, and it says cocktail attire. Look, I dress like this every day. What is cocktail attire? I have no clue.
To be fair, Brent, and I'm going to co-sign this. I don't know what cocktail attire is either.
Yeah, you got to Google that up.
Yeah.
And he
Google
did, and then he had to
search
go spend some money.
I mean, I've been in the world's largest cocktail party. I saw a bunch of boat shoes and like flip-flops and everything. So, okay. Go on, though. Sorry.
So I had to go buy a suit. So I have this custom-made, like, blue-on-blue and really nice navy suit. I've never worn a suit before in my life.
Okay.
I'm going through, like, the guy in the email is probably me doing the research on how to do things. I'm like, all right, you've got this and this. What matches with a navy suit? All right, so you need a brown belt that has to match.
It's not
the
black shoes.
No.
Yeah.
Because I had to get new shoes. I got a new belt. I had to get suspenders because I had suspender buttons put in anyway.
Come on.
Buddy, I had this whole thing suited and booted and ready to go. I had to go buy new shirts, socks, the whole nine. The whole nine.
Suited and booted.
The whole nine. So I'm wearing it to the rehearsal dinner, and I'm having a great time. I look good. I feel good. We sit down. We start first course, tomato bisque. Now, look, I've never had tomato soup, let alone tomato bisque. I get like 3 bites into this thing. Thankfully, the jacket's off at this point. The napkin is up against the shirt. There's a little bit of it straight down between the napkin and the shirt. First course, I got an orange dot.
Ooh, we hate to see
Orange
that.
dot, like right about here. I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. I got to deal with this the rest of the night. We've got 3 courses and the dessert to still go. I'm sitting back. I'm just like, I'm back like this with a hand on just to block it. Like, nobody sees this. It's probably awkward and random looking the entire time, but hey. Now,
Like,
fast
is
forward.
Nick having a hard? Is he okay? Nah, he's just covering up that tomato bits.
So fast forward the next day. We're at the venue. We do pictures. We get back in. It's kind of cool. It's Chattanooga, February. It's windy. It feels good outside to me. I'm like, this is my kind of weather. We get back inside. There's not water. There's enough whiskey to bartend an entire ship of people in this place. There's beer, whiskey, whatever. I mean, these guys. Whew. So we get down there. I don't want to drink just yet. So I'm like, hand me this little tiny, like the little 8-ounce Coke. I'm like, I'll take one of those. So I grab it, pop the top, first sip. Day of the wedding, in the shirt I have to wear the rest of the day, I drop Coke on it. First sip, could not have. I'm dying. I'm like, no.
You infant.
I don't even know how I did it. It was like first sip. And this is why I can only have clear liquids on the day of my wedding. Is because if that happened, my fiance, we're not getting
Okay.
We're not getting to the
I was
podium.
I was thinking he was going a fireball reference there. You throw up after drinking a lot of fireball. He went tomato biscuit and Coke.
It was like, I'm trying not to do it, and it still happens. You gotta be kidding me. But otherwise, I mean, honestly, it was a great time. And looking back, like the day after, I wake up, one buddy's got, he's got a post on Facebook, another buddy's posted something, and I'm like, I have no pictures from this. Besides what the photographer did.
Oh, man.
And I'm partially like,
you're not a picture taker?
because I don't have any. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm happy because I enjoyed the night. I still had a great time.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But I didn't have
That's a good perspective of the wedding.
Yeah.
I think the only picture me and my fiance came away with was a picture of me and her after we'd gotten ready, just her in the dress and me in my suit from the rehearsal dinner. We didn't have even a picture from the wedding day. And I haven't, I've seen his wife now and him post pictures. I hadn't seen me in a single one. I've either been cropped out. It's like, we don't want this guy. We're going to crop him out. or anything.
Spot, man. That's a sticking point on those pictures.
So
those pictures,
this
I
whole
didn't have
thing kind of reminds me.
This kind of reminds me of a story quick I'll tell. So my friends back home, I have two best friends, Andrew and Alex. And my friend Andrew was getting married. This is probably 10 years ago now. And me and Alex were both the best men in the wedding. So there was rehearsal dinner. The first time I've ever really stood up in a wedding, first time I've ever done a rehearsal dinner, and it said, just casual. Cool. Well, I'm not a big packer, and I'm coming from Jacksonville, so I wasn't going to pack a suit because my suit, it was a rental, it was going to be there for the wedding.
Okay.
It's a rehearsal dinner. It's at the church, and they're a little more religious than I am, but I'm like, I'm wearing a tank top. It's the middle of summer. I'm going to pull up with a tank top and my Vans, and it's going to be okay because it's a dress rehearsal. It's a walkthrough, okay? I didn't ever wear my game used pads and stuff in a walkthrough when I played football. I'm not going to do it here.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I walk through the doors of the church, and Andrew comes we call him Moss, that's his last name, but Andrew comes running. He was like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm here for the rehearsal. I know I'm a little early. I'm 40 minutes early. He's like, you can't wear that. I'm like, why can't I wear a tank top? He goes, well, because it's more of a casual setting. I'm like, for what? God doesn't care. It's Friday. It ain't Sunday. God's cool with it. I already talked to him. We're good. I had said a little prayer. I'm going to go through this thing with the tank top. He literally made me leave the rehearsal, and I had to go to the mall, which is 20 minutes away, buy a dress shirt, a tie, and some slacks, and then go do the rehearsal. So and you know me, I kind of come from the Stuart Weber school of, pettiness and cheapness. I was ticked off because, hey, my size isn't easy to find either.
Oh, yeah, true.
So I had to spend a little extra money. So I had to go do that for one day, never wore the clothes again. Now, fast forward, I'm getting married, right? And we're going to have the rehearsal and the dinner and everything at this farmhouse. Wasn't at a church, a little farmhouse. And so I put out a Facebook group saying, hey, everybody, just come as you are. It's going to be super casual. Cody, my wife at the time, or fiance at the time, was like, we don't want anything fancy. We're all good. That was the message to everybody except Andrew. Andrew got a message that said, hey, Andrew, hey, by the way, for the rehearsal dinner, man, Cody, I didn't agree with this, but she wants to take these pre-rehearsal dinner pictures. So we're going to need suits. We're going to need ties and everything. And once again, I go, hey, man, I didn't want to do it, but this is kind of her idea. That's what it's what the picture the photographer wants to do, so you got to kind of wear your best. He's like, okay, yeah, cool, no problem. So we all pull up. Everyone's wearing gym shorts, cutoffs, tank tops, and here comes Moss, Andrew, rocking a 3-piece suit, looking to the nines, and guess what? We got about 5 hours of partying, so hope you're comfortable. So that was kind of my payback to him. Yeah.
That is great. You have a good memory, man.
Oh, yeah, man.
That's classic stuff.
Yep.
That's what friendships are all about, right?
You better believe it. Yep.
All right, man. Anything else you scouted out for the wedding? When are you getting married again? What is it, April?
December.
Later? December, sorry.
Yeah.
Who's Hamby getting married in May? I think Hamby's getting married in May.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think he's getting married in May. You're getting married in December.
I know he was dressed in
Now,
nines
Nick, is
doing,
this kind of a...
Stadium Pulse this morning. I walked in and said, why are you so dressed up?
So, Nick,
I
is this
didn't
kind
think
of a...
Hey, Nick. Valentine's Day, dude. He's got the whole day planned. He's setting the table. He's not listening to Brent's speech. He's getting the standard way up here, and he's going to have to live up to that damn thing on February 14th every year. God bless him.
Man, that's a good point. You got to set the tempo right, Brent. And I never thought about that before.
Yeah, man. I mean, the standard's a standard.
The standard's a standard.
I don't know when that expires either.
Well, some would say it doesn't expire. Brent doesn't.
It doesn't expire.
Sometimes it does.
All right. Hey, listen to this.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, no, I was going to ask you real quick. So December, is that because the temperature is trying to cool it down a little bit for the tux, for the 3-piece?
No, there's actually a story behind it. She wanted an April wedding, and we were at Disney in line for Winnie the Pooh, and she was told none of the dates you want. The only one that was open was the 20th, and she didn't like when I made a 420 joke about it. She was like, nope. And then I painted this picture of a December white wedding, and then magically the 7th of December, which would be our 2-year anniversary, was open, so we went for that date. But no, I did go to Nordstrom doing the research on the new suit that I'm going to get.
Okay. And do we have any behind the scenes looks? Do we have any teases? Can you give us something?
If I go by Nordstrom, it's a European cut and a tan or a cream. I'm debating 3-piece with a vest. And then like we'll do all the other stuff. Like I got like stitching around like the collar, the lapel deal, slanted pockets on the suit I bought for the other thing. So I had some touches. My name embroidered on the inside. Hey, I like the whole like suit buying experience. I think it's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, dude, you had never done it.
Yeah, now he's all in
to the nines. Dude, you going to Nordstrom Rack? I hope.
No, Nordstrom.
I hope you're going to Nordstrom Rack, not Nordstrom. Oh my God,
dude, it's crazy.
I went looking for colognes.
Dude forgot where he came from.
Colognes.
Dude forgot where he came from. All of a sudden, it used to be Rocky Top. It used to be Tennessee. And now it's European cut. Let's keep it American. What are we doing here, Nick, in the daytime?
By the way, I'm taking you shopping now, so that viewer will be happy and not send us emails. You got to help me out.
Oh man,
that's incredible. We should do a bit here, man, with a shopping experience with Nick.
Suit shopping. I like it, man. Let's go suit shopping.
Wedding fitting.
Let's go suit shopping.
We could start a whole new thing here.
Let's go.
I love it. Hey, let's do this. Taking time out on the show. We got to catch up on some breaks. Brent and Austen Show. We're live at the Girls Flag Football Preseason Classic. Oh, we got a touchdown. They got the flag. No, they did not. Touchdown. I don't know who it is. Is it Oakley? Oh, yeah, they're dancing again.
Oh, yeah.
Just like they were in front of my
Oh, we got some Gideon.
Oakleaf over Orange Park. We got a little Clay County battle going on here at the preseason classic. We've had some fireworks. We might try to visit with Adriel Rocha. We'll try to find him. We also have to get into Daniel Griffis' topic today. We will do that. It wasn't wedding stuff. Maybe he should write about that, though, at actionsportsjacks.com. He's written about Brian Thomas Jr., Jarian Jones, Jags pass rush, and the latest one drops today. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Brent and Austen Show here on a Friday.
The Tom Bush family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit.
Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Bush offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service facilities. Like the new VinFast, Tom Bush is among the first dealers in the entire country to offer the VinFast, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. The good folks at Tom Bush have all the info on charging, service, tax credits, and everything you need to keep your EV running smoothly. BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Mini, and the newly offered VinFast. There's something for everyone at the Tom Bush family of dealerships. Ready to join the Tom Bush family? Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory online at tombush.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
A big week for the UNF men's basketball team, a sweep of Stetson and Jacksonville University. It was an overtime thriller over Stetson. That set the table for the River City Rumble, and Coach Matthew Driscoll joined the Brent and Austen Show.
But I think these two games are the creme de la creme.
UNF couldn't miss in the first half. 11 three-pointers jumped the lead to 25 points, but the Ospreys would still have to hold off a late rally. UNF comes back home for the men's and women's hoop doubleheaders on Thursday and Saturday at the arena. Also say hello to softball season as the Ospreys visit #1 Florida on Thursday and then host the River City Leadoff on the weekend. For more on the Ospreys, visit UNFospreys.com. That's your Swoop Minute.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartshire branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Brent and Austen Show, the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. And there's a look at the Miller Electric Center. Jags headquarters, good place to be today for everybody participating in girls flag football, the preseason classic. What a beautiful day we have for it, too. 60-plus degrees, not too hot, little breeze. And beautiful blue skies heading into the weekend. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. Good to have Austin back in town after being at Fight Camp in South Florida. He's here for like 48 hours, spending the week at your favorite restaurant, and then he's out to Las Vegas, heading up for that fight March 1st against Mario Pinto in Las Vegas. Can't wait to watch that. Hopefully get another W here. Put in a lot of work for this next fight. And so we're looking forward to seeing all that. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane here. Nick in the daytime back in the studios, hanging out with us, having some fun as well. We got a full lineup still to come throughout the weekend, including a lot of Daytona 500 coverage. In fact, Nick, if you don't mind, I'd like to get a little report from Stuart Weber from last night in Victory Lane. I know I didn't give you a heads up on this, but Daytona 500, we've got a lot of coverage. Stuart's been doing a great job. He was there all day Wednesday. He loves this stuff. All day Thursday as well at the duels last night. Duels are always fun. Truck race tonight. Got more racing tomorrow. Obviously, the 500 on Sunday. There's some possibility now they might move the race up a little bit to avoid the weather on Sunday afternoon. At least we're getting a little word of that. We don't know if that's going to be the case. So we know that is we have a show, Road to Victory Lane, at noon from Daytona International Speedway, presented by NHRA Gator Nationals, which also coming up some more racing in March. And that might slide to 11 a.m. on Fox 30 if they move the race up. So we've got a little word on that. It's not a confirmed thing yet. So pay attention on Sunday, race fans, to the schedule, because it could shift based on the forecast down there in Daytona, and we'll be there for it regardless with the show, Road to Victory Lane, presented by NHRA Gator Nationals, coming up at 12 o'clock or maybe even 11 o'clock on Fox 30. Let's hear from Stuart Weber yesterday in Victory Lane as we had both the duels and ended up with a couple of winners and set the field, of course, for this year's edition of the 500.
The great speed weeks for Toyota continue. Duel number 1 goes to Bubba Wallace, and what an offseason it was. A new crew chief as well as a new baby. Perhaps the other drivers should take Bubba's advice and learn from an infant.
I took my son's demeanor. He was surprisingly calm on pre-race and on the grid, and so I was like, I'm going to be like that, and it worked out. It's been 2 years since I won. This is a small race, but it's still a victory. It's the small victories that I told myself I would cherish a little bit more this year and enjoy it. Having Amanda and our son here, Bex, is really, really special.
Wallace has always performed well on the super speedways. He's won at Talladega, and he's come oh so close here at the World Center of Racing. We'll see if he returns to victory lane on Sunday in the Daytona 500. At Daytona International Speedway, Stuart Weber, Action Sports Jacks.
Yeah, so a nice win for Bubba, and obviously some other big news coming out of the duels last night. Justin Allgaier gets JR Motorsports in, which is Dale Jr.'s team, so that's kind of a cool deal, obviously, to have Dale Jr. You'd think that was like this monstrosity of a team. It's actually like a smaller team that they've put together, and so there's a nice story behind that. LaJoie is the last one in the field. As well, and the field now is set going to have 41 cars, which is the most since 43 a few years back. So it's a big field at the Daytona 500, and we'll have everything covered for you. And really, Stuart does a great job for all of us. He knows it better than all of us, but we pretend. Now, listen, I like it. I'm not deep diving all the time. We're going to be deep diving on the Jags GM search while we're doing that. Weber's down there at Daytona covering this the way it should be covered, and he's our expert when it comes to the racing stuff. So he'll have you covered tonight. And then, of course, he'll co-host the show with me on Sunday. So anything technical, I just say, hey, Stuart, what does that mean?
It's got to help having him around, though, right? Because, I mean, I'm kind of like you, Brent. I'm definitely a casual when it comes to racing, but it is a very popular sport, I feel like, especially around here, and especially around Daytona. So I feel like having Stuart Weber kind of, in the bullpen really helps everything out, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I think I think our world, we do this a lot now, and it's really changed. I think when you're like the sports guy, you're like expected to know everything.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's okay also to admit like you don't know everything. Mm-hmm. And we cover the Daytona 500. There are a lot of people that go watch that race or listen to NASCAR coverage or watch NASCAR that know the NASCAR stuff way better than I do. Yeah. We can give you some nuts and bolts stuff. Stuart really knows it. Like he knows the inside and outs of it. It's really kind of cool. Like it's one of his passions.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't take all five of us in the department to have to know all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. He does a good job of that. I really think our business has changed in that sense. We would go, I always use this example, when I first got to Jacksonville especially, and even still now, you go to like a Georgia Bulldog club or a Florida Gator club or whatever, and you go speak. They'd ask you to come out and speak and give your thoughts on things, which is fine, give your opinions. But social media has really changed things where if you're a diehard Gator fan, you're a diehard Dog fan, you're a diehard you name it fan, you are like watching that stuff every day. And you are like in the weeds on the recruiting and everything else. Well, we really don't do that in our world, like unless we were doing a show on it every day or something like that. Like that's why, Hamby can go do Stadium Pulse this morning because he's kind of in the weeds on it, especially the Dogs and UCF and what else is going around college football. We aren't to that degree. And there are a lot of people that are. That's a world. But in our world, we don't have to be. We're in the weeds on this and a lot of things locally, but not necessarily like who the heck, Georgia Bulldogs just pulled in on the 4-star recruit from blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So you would go to these things, and I think the expectation is you know everything about it. And I just right up front be like, listen, if you're a diehard fan, you know more about this recruiting stuff than I do because you're watching it every day. I am not looking it up every day, every play. That'd be impossible. You wouldn't have the time to do it. Right? So you got to live in your lane sometimes is what I call it. And I just think it's cool we get to go talk Daytona. It's not my lane overall. It's Stewart's lane. But we'll be in victory lane. And we'll have fun with it on Sunday for sure. So it's a fun weekend. It's a big event. It's right here. What I love about this is it's a world-class event right in our backyard. Like I said earlier in the week, if you've never been, you really should go because it's awesome. You do not have to know everything about racing to enjoy the experience down there at Daytona. All right, speaking of experience, we've asked Daniel Griffis to help us carve some experiences here on the show, and he's contributed to our show this week. It's been awesome, so we appreciate Daniel. This is really working out the way we wanted it to. Simply go to actionsportsjacks.com, and you can read his stuff. So there's an article that goes along with this, and we talk about it daily on the show as well. And he did something a little bit different for us today. And it's more about the trend in the league that's happened in the National Football League. And it's really a deep dive. I'm not going to throw all numbers at you. I learned a long time ago that's a dangerous thing to do, is to just sit here and talk numbers. But Daniel deep dives into a lot of these numbers. And the idea of this is the title. NFL offenses were more efficient than ever in 2024. But I think what he goes on to say in here is they're not as explosive as they were in the last 4, 5, 6 years.
Okay.
So he gives a great example of, if you don't know what it is, ADOT, right? Average depth of target in terms of passing.
Okay.
And he uses Mahomes, who's a standard in the NFL. And so this is where the change will come. It says that Mahomes has been a catalyst for the change. He has seen ADOT fall from 9.5 in 2018 to 6.9 this past season. So that's a pretty big gap, right?
Sure.
Well, what he says is the league average has dropped from 8.8 to 7.7 over the last decade. So that average depth of target pass has dropped.
Okay.
So, but the efficiency in the NFL has gone up. Completion percentage, less turnovers, and more drives resulting in scores.
Can I get my own correlation here, I think?
No, that's what we do.
Okay.
That's going to be on actionsportsjacks.com, by the way. And I think, I don't know if it's up right now. Yes, there's thank you, Nick. There's the graphic that showcases it and some of the metrics. But it's an interesting deep dive by Daniel to say, hey, they're more efficient than ever, not necessarily as explosive as ever.
So my correlation would be, I wonder if it has something to do with a third down running back, where if you check down to running back a little more, if you have a lot more running backs now that are also wide receivers, does that have something to do with it?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
I know.
We all be thinking the
we're
theory.
Just spitballing, man.
We just saw Liam Cohen come out, and he's going to go address the flag footballers here in a little bit. Maybe I should just go ask him. But I may actually step out and go shoot this here in a little bit.
Oh,
but
I beg you to step out and go shoot that, and maybe shake hands with Liam Cohen too. A couple
better
Rhode Island guys. Maybe a little better handshake.
So what I would suggest is that the screen game has eliminated a lot of this. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I think he brings up that guys like Fangio and even Staley brought that two shell coverage in vogue. Mm-hmm. To eliminate some of the depth of those passing, the deeper passing attack.
Yep.
And so now, so much of this is the screen game. There's a big reason why Liam Cohen's here.
True.
Is because very good in the screen game.
True.
And so that will limit that depth of target, of course.
Yep.
But it's also considered a safe play, a highly efficient play, one that can move the sticks, and obviously drives are getting downfield and turning into scores a lot more.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. I think it's all some sort of correlation, whether it's the third down back, whether it's the screen game. Yeah, it's an interesting little stat, though, because we think of, like, wide receivers getting more yards than ever, touchdowns being scored more than ever, but these analytics show that not really the case.
Okay, so there's another side of this for me, because really before Daniel gives us this information, we already are saying, hey, defense has really been important.
Correct.
You don't get to this big game without him. And some would argue it's always been that way, but there was a little bit of a stretch where it was like, you can outscore them. Look at the Chiefs. We just outscore you. Yeah. Our defense is like 30th. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the other part of this is the running game. There are more 1,000-yard running backs, or just as much almost as receivers this year. That's a change. So how much of that does it factor in the running? And you said third down running back. I would suggest running back in general.
Sure.
Because we've seen those changes pivot, and then a deeper dive into these numbers showcase, okay, well, if you're running the ball, people have to stop the run. They got to respect the run. Well, now you can also be very efficient in the passing game. It also contributes to time of possession, scoring drives. It also, if you're running the ball, you're less likely to turn the football over because fumbles don't happen as frequently as interceptions, I would assume. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that goes into it. But the game has really pivoted, I would say, in the last 10 years in that respect. But these offensive guys are as good as ever is the point.
No, you're not wrong, and I do agree with you. I think running back has a lot to do with it. And I just feel like this league has no idea what to do with the running back position. Like, I don't think anybody really has a clue. Because I was under the impression that 3 or 4 years ago that we may never see another first-round running back ever again. right? Because like you saw what happened with Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette had some good years, but it's just, would you really risk drafting a running back that high when the shelf life can be pretty small? Well, then all of a sudden you see a guy like Bijan Robinson get drafted, and it's like, okay, well maybe there is still a need for that. And now you have Ashton Genty coming out where he's definitely going first round hands down. And then we talk about the money. Okay, well, should running backs be making a lot of money? Well, Saquon, I feel like, just reset the market with what he's capable of in terms of how much money he's making. So it's just wild how I feel like it's the position of all positions in the National Football League where you just can't get a good beat. You can't get a good read in terms of how this league really thinks and covets a running back.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch how these guys do it here in Jacksonville.
Because, you got two of them, really.
Yeah, you do it, and how are they going to use them? Mm-hmm. And the guys right over there figuring out how to use them. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, actually. By the way, Tony Baselli addressed these kids yesterday, and Liam Cohen's doing it today. We'll see if anybody is planned to do tomorrow, but I think that's pretty neat. Jags have put their arms around this, and they're going to do that. Duval Jack says 2 high safeties, I think, is why some of that's dropped down. Okay. But what I think even Daniel suggests in this article, again, you'll find it at actionsportsjacks.com, is contributing to our show and contributing there, and you can see it more in written form, and I think digest it. I'm not throwing all the numbers at you, but I think what he suggests is, okay, when will it pivot back a little bit? When will people load the boxes up a little bit more and try to come up with an answer for the screen game and the run game so much that now you leave that part of the field vulnerable again? When does that switch back? Who is who's on the forefront of that? And again, some of these changes that go on in the game, I think this is a very cool topic because that's what we're wondering with these guys. This is younger. This seems innovative when you get younger. I'm not talking about reinvent the wheel and revolutionize the sport. I think that's asking for a lot. But are you on the forefront of the current changes going on in the league rather than trying to catch up? Because he gave an example of 9 years. We've given examples of like 4 or 5 years. We see the league pivot. Well, by the time you're catching up, it's old news.
True.
And that's what it's felt like in Jacksonville at times. There's still an old way to win, by the way. There's still other things that just always will be the test of time. Winning football, the trenches, taking care of the ball, all that stuff. But I love the idea that these guys could be on the forefront of whatever this next wave is over the next 5 years here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I love it as well, right? Because that's the thing. You always have to adapt, Brent. Like, even, like the Kansas City Chiefs, they've done things a certain way for a long time and it didn't work this year, and we'll see how it works next year. Eventually, New England Patriots got figured out a little bit, but that's more of Tom Brady just saying, hey, we'll see you guys later. But teams always get figured out, and it's always on the team then to adjust and to pivot and to find a new way of doing things.
Yeah, and we'll see if they are able to do just that. Hey, got to catch up on commercial breaks, Nick, so I'm going to do that right now. If that's okay, we'll get to one, and we'll definitely talk a little bit more. Want to wrap up the day talking a little flag football as well, and we will make sure we do that throughout until 1 o'clock here on the show. Don't forget, we got you covered all weekend long. Action Sports Jacks primetime, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. And keep an eye on that weather at the Daytona 500 and the schedule for NASCAR. Have Road to Victory Lane at noon. It's planned for on Fox 30, presented by NHRA Gator Nationals. And that's coming up in March, by the way, at the Gainesville Raceway. Action Sports Jacks primetime, the only show in town, going Saturday and Sunday night for a half hour. And we do it on 2 different stations. So we'll get you set for the weekend with both of those shows on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade. I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $500 on a Connecticut Premier Softener and get a free Connect Salt Monitor with purchase. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with we are murder rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is home. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show. Check it out, too, live on location. I'm not going to be there, unfortunately. I'll be in Las Vegas, but Brent will be there in full effect at Bozard. Yeah, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead and just take it off the screen so I can't see it anymore. All good, but we're also at the Miller Electric Center here for the Girls Flag Football Preseason Classic. We have some athletes on the field now, everybody. We have some athletes, we have some studs, it looks like, and we have some celebrations. We saw TikTok dances in the warm-ups. I've seen gritty variations. I've seen one-handed catches. I've seen a little bit of everything here. And now we can see that I believe Liam Cohen is making his way on the field to get ready to talk to some of these young ladies here. And I'm sure Brent, oh, my bad, Brent, do you want to get in the middle of the hang on. We're good now? Okay.
Yeah, you're in my way.
Yeah, so, well, Brent.
I'm trying to give people a look.
Okay, well, Brent's giving people a look. I'm trying to give a little commentary play-by-play. My bad. Brent didn't mean to get in the way. Let me tell you something, everybody at home, that aren't aware of what's going on. when Brent Martineau has a chance to improve a shot or to improve the ambiance of your viewing experience, Brent Martineau is going to take every advantage that he can to try to do that. And this is a classic example right here as he's hitting that zoom button. I'm trying to avoid this, Brent, so my bad here. But anyways, one more show before we hit the weekend. We've got a lot of topics to cover. I want to talk about this real quick because I'm not sure people have seen this. The NBA All-Star Weekend's going on this weekend or whatever, and who really cares, honestly, because if you haven't been paying attention at all, they took the East and West and said, we're all set, and now there's 4 NBA All-Star teams. There's Kenny's Young Stars, there's Chuck's Global Stars, there's Shaq's OGs, and there's Candace's Rising Stars. So they're going to play in some kind of like tournament, obviously there's some celebrities picking the teams and everything, and then there will be a winner, and I think the money will be going to charity or whoever wins for that team. Very cool. Shaq is on his last leg in terms of doing the NBA halftime show and the NBA show with Ernie and Kenny the Jet Smith and everything and Charles Barkley because, well, they just got bought out and they're going to go someplace else. And Shaq is to the point now where he doesn't even care anymore. And I'm not sure if anybody's been seeing this, but last night, as they were, going off the air and kind of saying their goodbyes, Shaq just felt the need to drop a couple F-bombs.
Crazy.
F-bombs. And everyone was laughing. Like, Brent, is that kind of like your dream gig where, listen, you have many years left, right, doing what you do. You're just coming in the whole prime of your career. But is the goal that when you get to be in that back nine, when you get ready for that swan song, do you want to just have it where it's like, hey, this last couple months or so of sports news, let me just go ahead and drop a couple F-bombs because what are you going to do? You're untouchable.
Yeah, I think there is a little. I've always said just that in general. Like, I think when you get to the point where you don't care what you say, like, that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
The dangerous thing. I work with a guy that has that right now in him.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, he knows. He's like, how much longer am I going to do this? Whatever. Like, and I'm like, oh, this is dangerous sometimes. So, like, you kind of already feel that way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it is kind of a cool spot to be in. What's interesting to me about the Shaq stuff, and I heard he said, first of all, it's on cable now, so it feels like you can almost say anything on cable.
Yeah.
But on the TNT stuff, does anybody even say cable anymore? But the other thing I thought about with Shaq is, does he have to be careful because he's such a highly endorsed person? And so people that are partnered up with you, do they take that okay? Would they like that? It's one thing for that audience and everything. Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. But I think it's the other side that he has to be aware of because he's everywhere. Now, he doesn't need anything. He's got more money than he ever, so he's really...
Dude got so many commercials. He's driving Buicks. He's doing the general auto insurance. Like, yeah, I'm sure he's doing fine for money. But, I mean, this is a question to ask you then. Like, what are the repercussions of that? Right? Like, drops an F-bomb. Like, does the FCC come down on that? Does TNT have to pay a fee? Does Shaq have to pay something? Or is it just like, we're all good? Because this is kind of becoming more and more of an apparent thing. We see in College Game Day with Pat McAfee had some choice language when my son was watching, so that's all good. No worries, Pat. But, like, is this kind of the world that we live in now where you're entitled to say a couple swear words every once in a while without any repercussions?
Yeah, I guess. First of all, can you just... Who is that? I can't see because of the sun glare. Is that Trevor?
Where? I don't...
Yeah, that's Trevor.
Hey, man,
That's
monitor.
Trevor and Cohen, I think.
Is it? So they must have both went and talked to the kids over there.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Hang on, though. What were they talking about? Was that some kind of play they're running there, Brent? What was that? Was that a screen pass to Brian Thomas Jr. they were discussing?
I think it was a drop back or something, and just having a conversation.
It was
out there.
That was a three-step, though. It was a three-step. It was a short pass, but it could have been a screen pass to Brian Thomas Jr. What is it? Is that water Trevor's drinking?
He's talking some ball. Just a couple buddies talking some ball.
Okay.
Trevor was out here today.
Liam's going into that wide receiver stance here. Okay. Maybe. Oh.
Well, drop back by
wait. It's Trevor's footwork on the table right now they're talking about. Are they trying to clean some stuff up, Brent? Is that what we're talking about here?
I don't know. I did not realize Trevor was out there.
He's going back to it. Oh, that footwork, the drop.
That's fun.
A three-step drop right there, everybody. Nick, what are you seeing? Because you're the best view of that. I got sun in my eyes and everything. It's hard to tell.
It's two quarterbacks. They're just talking shop, I think, talking drop back footwork stuff. 3-step, 5
1, 2, 3. It's somewhat. Is that 3? I can't even tell.
That's kind of fun, though, isn't it? That they're just talking shop, talking ball.
Yeah.
So I guess what they do.
Yep. I mean, this is refreshing to see because I feel like Doug Pearson probably would have been texting Trevor this stuff right now. So this is really cool to see. I'm just kidding. Brian, we can't joke about it. What are we doing here? No, this is really cool to see.
Yeah, it's good. So anyway, but just if you're just jumping in here, and I'm just trying to figure this out too, but I didn't realize Trevor was out here. I knew Liam was going to talk to the kids, and that's what he just did. Mm-hmm. And I was going to actually go when we went to break to go get it, but I wasn't going to make it over there in time. Then I was like, I'll just zoom in instead, and then I couldn't find him. I mean, now we found Trevor out of the mix, too, and I thought I saw somebody with long hair. I'm like, well, maybe it's just somebody on the staff. Yeah, it's Trevor.
Hey, Brent, I'm not trying to snitch or anything, but should we be showing this? Can they talk to each other right now, or is that okay?
They can talk to each other at an event like this.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I'm just making sure. Can you imagine NFLPA comes down over the Brent and Austen show?
Why couldn't you talk to each other?
Well, no, because isn't there like a rule where isn't there like a dead period where you can't talk to players? I mean, that's what I had to go through in the spring.
Yeah, I think the conversation, it's more like you can't be like meeting in the team reading rooms and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But you can do a community thing out here.
Oh, okay.
They wouldn't bring them out here if you couldn't do that, you know?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and retract our statements. It wasn't about the 3-step drop. I think they're talking about the
they're talking about flag football. How it's different.
They're talking about the Kendrick halftime show and some of those dancers, I think is what it was. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so you see when he said wop wop wop, and then wop, and then you go wop. Yeah, we got it. We're good. Beautiful, Trevor.
I think Liam's going to run a route here.
Man, they're really on whatever they're talking about.
That's wild.
This is carried over for like a 50-yard conversation of walking, and now we stopped again.
That's funny. I bet you know what's interesting? There was a play that came out today that it almost looked like Trevor was referencing the Matthew Stafford no-look pass. It was 3 years ago today in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe that's what they were. It almost looked like Trevor was just referencing that play. Yeah, because it actually came out on social media today.
Okay, so now this is funny little play-by-play here. Now we have some players on the field taking part of what's happening. Oh no, that's Trevor Lawrence. Hey, we have a game going on, but it's hard to focus on the game when you got the star quarterback right next to you as well.
That is pretty tough.
So a real mental gymnastics meet going on right now, Brent, in terms of do we focus on the game or do we focus on Trevor Lawrence coming to make an appearance?
Well, I think they'll probably focus on Trevor. That's pretty cool. Trevor came out, though, to do that. I'm going to get off him. I'll give those guys their space now.
Okay.
But we're going to get back to you here.
Okay, do you want me to sit back in my seat?
Sure.
Okay.
This is live action here going on. Sorry. But hey, that was kind of fun to see him and Liam talking a little shop for a second. But it was really cool that they got him out here to talk to the kids.
Yeah,
both of them. I knew Liam was. I didn't know Trevor was here to do that, so that was kind of cool for Trevor to do that. And this Jaguars staff kind of gets used to it's all about that guy right there. It's all about that relationship right there, really, you know, and it'll be fun to watch it materialize over the next really couple of months and see what it looks like when you're talking about the next bit after that. So
speaking of fun to watch, Brent, yes, the segue's there. I got it. Speaking of fun to watch, did you watch the Four Nations at all with the NHL?
You know, I was driving home. I told you I was going to watch that U.S. game. I know they whooped them. So I at least paid attention to that. But I was driving back from Tampa last night, during that stretch. I ate a Cracker Barrel.
Ooh.
I got a good meal in.
Stuff. Yeah, man.
So underrated.
Isn't it good? Hash brown casserole.
Who was the guy that's Cracker Barrel that said that he was leaving? It was the Ram guy. Oh, you weren't on the show at that time.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for remembering.
No, it was. Remember when they got Darrell Henderson? Is that the name of the guy? The running back from the Rams?
I don't know.
Help me out, people. Darrell.
Yep. And that was our hockey talk for the day.
Hold on.
No, we're good.
We'll get back to it.
We're good.
Darrell Henderson from the Rams. Didn't the Jags sign him for like a minute?
Okay.
Did he say, in 22.
Okay, good call,
Brent. He never plays, but he ends up seeing somebody. Somebody saw him at Cracker Barrel. I don't know if they called in our show, if it was on Twitter. I can't remember.
Okay.
We were on ESPN 690 at the time.
Okay.
And the guy from he told me he's leaving. Like he basically was like, I'm out.
Oh, so like he got word that he was getting cut or whatever.
Yeah.
He goes to Cracker Barrel to eat, and then he drops the bombshell on. What was the guy working there, Brent?
I think it was more he was leaving.
Okay, gotcha.
By the way, this Foyer Lewican now I'm getting a shot of is he's hanging out with the kids. This is good stuff.
Well, a lot of the Jaguars here out in full effect. I love
All
it,
right,
man.
talk hockey. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. So obviously USA dominated last night, but a close game for the first two periods, and you almost saw a fight in the first period. Listen, how many quote-unquote all-star showcases are you going to see fights in? Right? Well, you almost saw it again. You got physical with Sweden and Canada last night, or I'm sorry, 2 nights ago now. But last night, Finland, obviously a team that's not really highly regarded in terms of winning the whole thing, but came out with some grit, came out a little pissed off because I think no one's given Finland a chance.
What's up, man?
And for the first 2 years, how you doing, man? Good to see you, bro. For the first 2 years, I've been trying to talk hockey and shake hands with Foy Luke at the same time. Not easy.
I was just trying not to have a bad handshake.
No, Brett, you killed it, by the way. Brett, you see my 360 too? I was like, I was a reach around there. But no, so Finland is obviously playing with a chip on their shoulder because they don't have maybe the household names. They don't get a lot of respect. And for the first two periods last night, they were playing pretty physical and pretty tough, but USA got the best of them in the third period. And yeah, USA dominates.
So first couple of nights, good.
Fantastic, I think. Yeah, I mean,
you even asked the question today. So how we got on this topic, and I know we're all over the place right now.
Yeah.
But will other teams follow suit on it?
I mean, I think when you add like the nationalism to this, it just ups it up. Like, listen, like even in the NHL All-Star game, like these players are just kind of having fun, whatever. They're playing hard in this thing, Brent, because they want to put on for their countries. They want to hoist the trophy and be like, yeah, we have the best country. So I'm not sure how that would work in the NBA. They've done like USA versus the world before, and maybe you do that, but like I feel like you're not getting that same effect that the Four Nations is getting. I'm not sure. And with baseball, I mean,
I think it's hard to duplicate.
It's hard to duplicate.
One thing about hockey that's cool is you tap into that because you've got the Olympics, you've got 1980, you've got, at least in the States,
correct,
you feel something, and I think they do in other countries.
Yeah.
So I think you do tap into that a little bit more. But the NBA, I feel like you could do it, but they're already trying other stuff. It's a good concept. I'm going to keep trying to watch it over this weekend, see how it goes. Plus, it elongates the break for a lot of the other players, which is nice.
It does. Yeah, no, it's really nice. But no, it's been so far. It's been really fun to watch. I've been impressed with it.
Good. We'll keep seeing if that's the case. What else we got? Anything else?
We can talk about the Rams real quick, but I mean that's more of a long-winded conversation.
I feel like on Monday.
Wait till Monday. Yeah. I like that, man. That sounds
great
good.
to see you back in town.
Yeah, man. Good to see you. It's fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a couple weeks again. Oh yeah, I'll see you from Vegas on Monday.
We'll see you from Vegas on Monday. And a couple weeks to the fight.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go.
Let's get it.
And hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Friday at Jags headquarters. Got a little peek in the last 20 minutes to Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen as they got a chance to talk to the kids. We'll have some highlights of this throughout the weekend as well. Great job by Jaguars Prep and Adriel Roca and company for putting this on, and the kids are having a blast. A beautiful day out here, so nice job by everyone involved for this girls flag football preseason classic as we continue to grow the game of flag football. We'll have our game of the week coming up starting next week on Saturday's edition of Action Sports Jax Primetime. And that's at every Saturday for the next couple of months. Hey, Nick, we're going to play a commercial break out of here, even though we might be on the later side. You still hit that break, okay? Didn't have a chance to relay that to you, so we're just on the fly here on the show today. You got to win a flag football game tomorrow.
We got to, but my son's playing tomorrow, man. The playoffs are on the line, Brent. Big game. Huge game.
Go get it, Ronan.
We got it.
All right, Nick, good work, man. Happy suit shopping. And enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
For those who celebrate.
Make sure you do. Just don't set the standard too high. That's the life lesson given today on the Brent and Austen Show. And don't forget to check out Action Sports Jax for all the content on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It's actionsportsjax.com and the latest articles from Daniel Griffis as well. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the show on a Friday. It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now, the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar, grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic. He's got some exciting news heading into 2025 as well. Christian Kirk. It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, which many of you have, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team.
Instant in the dying moments!
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season!
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices or pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports, from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
The Tom Bush family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit.
Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Bush offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service